good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are, whichever part of the globe you are. Welcome, welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, exposing corruption and incompetence. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Share the live, start and share the live. It is pace and power this morning. If you believe the other episodes were hot, look, this morning we have so much to talk about. So share the live, let the people know that we're here today, Wednesday, the 29th day of March in the year 2023. Speaking Out, exposing corruption and incompetence is here to give you all the information that you need to know about, that you desire. As indicated in the notification for this program this morning, we're going to spend a lot of time responding to the lies told by the Attorney General on NCN Friday night. You know, the Justice Gino Persaud delivered a ruling in favor of me and the suspended police service commission. That was on Friday afternoon. Friday night, the Attorney General went on NCN, and it was a one-man show. It was supposed to be an interview, they say, but the interviewer, if you could call her that, asked an opening question, and thereafter, the Attorney General rattled on and rattled on. But you know, let me say this. I come from the country, but I am stupid. And old people get all kind of saying to address these issues. And in this one, old people say, and well, let's not what old people say. Let me interpret it in proper English as best as I can. Old people say that if your mouth is shaped like an anus, defecation must therefrom flow. That's what people say. That's the English interpretation. The countryman interpretation is if your mouth shaped like batty, you must shoot shit. So they could say whatever they want to say. That is a countryman interpretation of the more perhaps politically correct version of the people. Well, we're gonna give you the details. Before I do the roll call, let me shout out to Ann. And John just came on. And John actually abused me to tell me a couple of weeks ago I skipped her by. So Ann, I give you the early shout out this morning, even before we started the roll call, because I don't want to incur the ire of Ann John. So welcome, Ann. Now let me say this. As I say, we are going to tell you what we have to tell you this morning about this Police Service Commission ruling, about the remarks made by the Attorney General. I listened to it. It was painful to listen to. When you listen to all these lies, it was painful. But I had to listen because I made notes on exactly what he said with the intention of responding. And respond I will do this morning. My colleague is already in the studio. CC is here and waiting. You know, many times when he comes on or when he attempts to come on, maybe Pegasus is at work. He get all kind of difficulties. But I note that he's here this morning already and waiting. Class already full, you know. Class already full. They were about, let me check the number. They were like about 47 persons lined up on YouTube and waiting for us to start this morning. So when we went live, we had 47 persons on YouTube waiting. And of course, the Facebookers just poured in when we went live a few minutes ago. So we have a lot to tell you. We have a lot. And as we normally say, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let rejoice and be glad in it. We are in the land of the living. And for that, we must give praise. You know, I'm not a sing man. I'm not a church man. But having regards to, well, when I said church man, I don't run to the church every day. But I believe and I do things that are Christian, and I am proud of that. And people will tell you, I don't run and kneel down every day, but I do things that will make me a believer and a Christian. Well, you know, there's a song, well, there's a hymn, which says, it talks about what it says, I made a note here. It says, come to blessings. Count your blessings. And let me tell you, I'm going to try a thing and sing. He said, count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. And it will surprise you what the Lord has done. God is great. God is great. God is great. We have to give praise. Count your blessings. Name them one by one. And it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Count your blessings. Name them one by one. And we are counting our blessings. We are counting our blessings, and we are going to continue to give praise, and we're going to continue to give thanks. But before I go any further, I think it is appropriate, before I get views out again, to do the roll call. The roll call is very long this morning, but I don't want to deny my loyal followers the opportunity to thank them to be here. And you would have seen this morning, this is the first person on this morning. John, come on at 7:53. Followed by Miss Squaddy, Buxton, 94, sorry, we are 9407. Buxton, Charles Goodman, Buxton from Orange, New Jersey. Then we had Francis coming at 811. Next we had Joan. Welcome, Joan. Then we had Red Mama. Raul was here very early this morning. He come to class. Bronxville, New York in the house. That's Raul, George. Then another regular, Aileen, was here very early in the morning too. She came to class at 8:30, followed by Colin. Colin all the way from Florida. Colin from Orlando, Florida. Then we have the loyal Princess Earl. She came in at 8:34 this morning. Sydney came at 9:05. Then we had Patricia coming in at 9:12. And Kevin shortly thereafter at 9:13. Then we have John from Clarksville. John came in from Clarksville at 9:24. Gavin, Jakey, welcome Jakey. Welcome Jakey, came in at 9:45. Then we have another Jacobs, Carlisle, came in at 9:57. Then we had Wayne. I think Wayne was on early and then he came off. Well, Wayne is from the UK, I remember. He came in at 9:58. Then we have Yolanda. She came in at 9:59. She came in, and then we have Natasha. Natasha came in at 10:01. And then CC, John came in at 10:03. And John said, let me tell you, they put on the other posting. He said he had to take a drink. He had to drink a few beers on the victory last Friday. Then after John, my good friend out of Canada, old shooting partner, Paul Archer, was here, and he too is congratulating us on the victory on Friday. Then Bonita came in next at 10:08. Then we had 9795 Young, all the way from Toronto, Canada, reporting for duty, always in class. Before I go on, let me tell you, I got a note from another regular this morning. My friend out of Jamaica, Dudley. Dudley asked to be excused from classes today as he has a funeral to attend, and he asked me to express to ask the class to excuse him this morning. Dudley, you're excused. I know he said he's gonna watch YouTube. Yeah, I know you will do that later on. Then we had Julian. Julian came in next at 10:10. Philip came in next. And then my squaddy, 9551, Frankie from Florida, regular. Then we had Bonita congratulating us as well. Winston, all the way from Ontario, California. Then we had Jason. Then we had Charles Fredericks. He came in at 10:35. Then next we had Raheem. Raheem came in at the same time, 10:35. Then we had Philip, came in at 10:36 from New Jersey. Carlton came to class early this morning, 10:36 as well. Then Barbara came in shortly thereafter, 10:37. Kevin came in at 10:38. Then we had Winston at 10:38 as well. Then Carlton came in at 10:43. And he's talking here about this school 74 and so on. Then we have the man from the East Bank. Whiteboard came in at 10:44 as well. Then another squaddy of mine, Carl Hartman, he came in at 10:48. He said he couldn't wait. Well, we are here now with you. Then we have Tessa. This is the next Tessa. Is that the one that we know? This is Tessa Mercuria. She came in at 10:49. Gregory came in at 10:49 as well. Jacko from Georgia came in at 10:52. Then we had Malcolm, old police, very good police. Malcolm came in at 10:56. Oren Chicken came in at 10:57. He's in the UK, I know. Then the first Facebooker was the secretary, Denise. She came in at 10:59. Then we had Rayshan at 10:59, Diane at 10:59, Lynette. So when we went live at 10:59, you can see all the Facebookers running there. We had Keith came in. We had Unruly Pat came in. Stay on. Another regular court here. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Then you had Raul. Raul is always here as well. And then we got back to the YouTubers. Well, I'll come back to some of the Facebookers and acknowledge your presence. But for now, let's hustle and make a start, because I get a strong suspicion with the amount of things we have to tell this morning, we can go past this regular. You know, we going now. We started at 1 hour, then we moved to 2, and now the last program was 3, and we had this special program on Friday. Which was the longest and the most looked on in terms of the time frame on YouTube. So again, I say I encourage you to go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button to get notification when we're live. Because you know they don't know how to thing with Facebook. They just complain how you're using people and all sort of thing, and then Facebook will knock you out. So I encourage you to go to YouTube as well. Now we say, as I say, we have to give thanks and praise to be in the land of the living. And as I say, count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, name them one by one. And that is what we will continue to do. We'll continue to count our blessings. We will continue to count our blessings, and we're going to name them one by one. And I'm sure it will be you'll be surprised what the Lord has done. So welcome, 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 welcome. Full class already. Full class, full class. People can sling up all in the rafter, people can be all over. Because I'm sure they are anxiously awaiting to hear what we have to say about what transpired in court on Friday. And we will tell you. We will tell you. And just to say, as I said, we're in the land of the living. It is nice that we don't have to report on any death of police rank or former police today, which is a good thing. But only this morning, I think I read that there was another fatal accident in Bobby's this time, another road fatality this morning. Ulrich, I want to take this opportunity to express belated birthday greetings to Ulrich. I'm not sure if he's here as yet because I run all the Facebookers. Ulrich Atkinson, you recently celebrated a birthday. Belated birthday greetings to you, Ulrich. When we catch up, you got to knock 2 dominoes and pull a few cold ones. And then we had, I must talk about it, you know. CC gonna understand this. Jakey gonna understand it. Jacko and our friend who is, I haven't seen him here this morning, but I'm gonna see West Indies won a series. West Indies won the T20 series against South Africa. Lenny, let me repeat this. West Indies won the T20 series against South Africa. They drew the one-day international series, 1-1 with 1 match abandoned due to weather, and they won in fantastic form, 258 the last game, which is a record chase. And then yesterday they piled on again and were able to contain the South Africa. But let me bring in CC, man. CC, join me. CC, welcome, CC.
Morning, and I'm happy to be in the land of the living. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
And for us, because I battled the West Indian tailenders the other day, I see Shepherd come to the plate. And a victory is a victory. I don't care, they might say one swallow doesn't mean to say it's summer, but a victory is a victory, and congratulations to them who hope that they be consistent.
Yeah, especially a victory away from home. You know,
Yeah.
you're continuing a bad man your own house, but this time you go in the yard and bust the tail in the yard, which makes it even sweeter. Sweeter. Now let me say this. Right now on the live, and since Friday, people have been sending congratulations to me. I'm sure they would have been sending to you as well as congratulations on the ruling by Justice Gino Persaud on Friday, where he ruled that the Police Service Commission was unconstitutionally suspended by the president on the 16th of June, 2021. We got to go into that. But let me say this. The many congratulations are to me, but it's not, I don't think it's a victory necessarily for us. It's a victory, the ruling of victory for the rule of law and democracy in Guyana. It serves to restore faith in the judicial system. We still have people who are prepared to uphold the law and the Constitution of Guyana. Big up to Justice Persaud. I noted that the Attorney General Friday night indicated that they will appeal. Let them appeal. Let them appeal. Let them appeal. But I'm going to tell you something about the appeal story. But before we go to that, I want to tell the Corporate Communications Unit. People calling me and asking me certain questions. I don't know it all. But people calling me and asking me if Guyana manufacturing guns now. So I asked them why they say that. Because they said that they saw the Police Corporate Communication Unit making a release that a man was detained with a semi-automatic machine gun. Let me repeat that. The Police Corporate Communication Unit gave a release recently to say that someone was remanded for being in possession of a semi-automatic machine gun. So the people ask me if Guyana producing gun now because that is unknown. You know, not like a semi-automatic machine gun. But you know when you get jokers, you get a pack full of jokers, it's a trick pack. So every time you shovel your boss the pack is a joker. The probability of a joker being unearthed or revealed is far, far great. It's far greater than the normal pack, which has 4 jokers. But you have a pack with enough jokers, what do you expect? So they are telling the public, and they're asking me questions. The public is asking me questions. What is a semi-automatic submachine gun? I have to tell them there's no such thing. There's no such thing. Perhaps the Corporate Communication Unit manufacturing their own gun. CC?
That's true. And lest I forget also, I wish to wish Ulrich belated birthday greetings. We come a long way. And also his brother was my squaddy too.
Oh yes, I remember the brother. I think Ulrich had a son too as a police family. Ulrich worked with me at West Coast, Demerara, and also again in Bobby. So Ulrich is a domino partner. He should play domino. Now let me move on. Let me move on and say the result involving the case briefly. I think again, as I said, we don't assume that everybody knows what's going on. So very briefly, the president suspended the Police Service Commission, of which I was a chairman on the 16th of June 2021. The matter worked its way through court, and on Friday, the judge ruled in our favor that the let me tell you what the judge said. Some scathing remarks were used. I think I'm going to put up the whole ruling on my page somewhere in social media. The judge said, and I'm looking for it here, please bear with me 1 minute. Bear with me 1 minute. The judge made some remarks. CC, let me add CC. CC, while I look for it, you can have your say.
I have it here, you know. He said it was unlawful in contravention of Article 225 of the Constitution, ultra-vires, arbitrary, unreasonable, unfair, in violation of the suspended chairman and commissioners on the commission's constitutional right that are protections of the laws and due process, null and void and of no legal effect. He didn't just say one thing, you know, it's 7 areas he touched on.
Yes, yeah, right. So yeah, that's what the judge said. He said a lot of other things that I'll go through later on. Well, let me tell you what really happened. The argument of the Attorney General on behalf of the government is that basically they admitted that the president did not follow the Constitution, but they were saying that this commission that I chaired, of which CC was a member, we had Ms. Clay Jarvis, we had Mr. Michael Somersall, and we had Vesta Adams, right? And if I may say it myself, outstanding citizens, outstanding former police officers, outstanding. They're saying that we were so rogue. That is the word used by the Attorney General. We were so rogue that the president was basically compelled to violate the Constitution and to suspend us from our duty. And that is what they tried to say. So in trying to establish this case, we have the secretary. Let me deal with the secretary first. The secretary of the Police Service Commission, Jaigo Ben Jai Singh, swore to an affidavit. I have the affidavit in front of me. The affidavit was drafted, the affidavit was drafted on the instructions of Mr. Darshan Ramdani, King Counsel. of Ramdani and Associate, whose address is and place of business is Ramdani and Associate of 221 East Ave, South Road, Georgetown, Demerara. And here are some of the lies that this secretary told. In other words, you're going to tell you, they're trying to build a case to say that we were so rogue, we violated all the rules of the Constitution, and that is why the president was compelled to violate the Constitution and to suspend us. He said here on page 2, paragraph 7, he said during the year 2020, the chairman of the Police Service Commission, Paul Slow, and Commissioner Clinton Conway were the subject of an investigation which commenced in April 2020 by the Special Organized Crime Unit. Lie. In April of 2020, there was no investigation. I said it Friday, is that this, and I give the old background, and I'll go back it again. In April of 2020, no investigation commenced, no allegation was made. All of this thing started when the Rupes and Ben, Minister of Home Affairs, went to Parliament in 2021, February, during a budget debate, and said that $300 million were missing for the Police Finance Office, and SOCU was instructed to go and conduct an investigation. They got there, they seized the payment vouchers, they saw that we had been paid a stipend for the standing order review, and then Karimba said that he get Slow and Conway. And that is how the investigation started. In 2021, after February, after that statement by the Home Affairs Minister in Parliament, it is public knowledge. So for Jai Singh to swear to say that during the year 2020, the chairman, Conway, was subject to an investigation which commenced in April 2020 is a blatant lie, which we can easily prove. Then he goes on to say, hey, what this man said, hey, this liar big man, Jaigobi and Jai Singh, are they in the mood today, you know? And I want them to sue because I have all the documents, all the evidence to prove what I'm saying is true. He goes on to say that on the 19th of May 2020, the investigation resulted in criminal charges being instituted against Paul Sloan, Clinton Conway in the Georgetown Magistrate Court. For the following, he highlighted the thing. Nothing. Conway was arrested on the 19th day of May 2021. You see, they're creating this picture that this thing since 2020. Not at all. Conway was arrested and the charges were filed. I have the case jacket. The charge against us was filed on the 19th of May 2021. And they appeared in court. I was overseas. They appeared in court on the following day, the 20th. And again, to support this argument, to support to show all this lie, the Prime Minister wrote a letter to us dated the 19th of May 2021. So he come and he lied to say that the charges were filed on the 19th of May 2020. And there's not a mistake, it's not a typographical error. It's a picture they were trying to portray that all of these times these things were going on. Lie. Jaigobi Jai saying you lie. Secretary, you lie. Then he goes on to say, see, I'm going to bring you just now. I'm walking up with poisoning. I'm walking up, they tickle me. And once they tickle me, you got to whine. And I have a good reputation of whining to soak up music that is. I have a reputation of whining to soak up music. So soak up music playing. So I'm whining. So then he goes on to say here in paragraph 10, in relation to the procedure for promotion of police officers, the process is that the executive leadership team, which comprises the Commissioner of Police, heads of department and all divisions, would produce a proposed promotion list. This promotion list is then sent to the subject minister, that is the Minister of Home Affairs, for his notification. My Lord, show me which part of the Constitution talk about the Minister of Home Affairs dealing with promotion. Tell me which part. And he's saying that is the procedure. Then he goes on to say, for the promotion list and the review, this procedure was followed. We can deal with that just now. I'm going to deal with that just now. Then he goes on to say in paragraph 12, in compliance with the standing procedure, the promotion list of 2020 compiled by the ALT was sent to the Minister of Home Affairs for his notification. Another lie. I think I said no way. It came to the Police Service Commission. Brutus signed the return and sent it to the Police Service Commission. I'm going to tell you all something more about that in a short while. Then he goes on to say, listen to this carefully. This is what Jagobin Jai saying the current secretary to the Police Service Commission signed in an affidavit saying that while that list was still with the Minister of Home Affairs, the then Commissioner of Police acting, Mr. Nigel Appy, sent to me a list for promotion with an attachment letter dated 7th December 2020, which turned out to be a different list from the list prepared by the executive leadership team. That is what he said. That is what he says. Lie again. The list came to the commission, as I said, Brutus, under Brutus' signature. Then here we stand now, interestingly, rather than await the promotion list prepared by the ELT, which I indicated, is the standard operational procedure of the Police Service Commission on the 22nd of December 2020 and on 31st of December 2020, the Police Service Commission met and approved 6 senior officers to be promoted to the rank of Assistant Commissioner and 8 senior officers to be promoted to the rank of Senior Superintendent of Police from the list received from the Commissioner of Police without the input of the ELT. CC, I hope you make a note to respond, man. Let me read this thing out first before me invite you in. I hope you make it. Nothing at the start. First of all, they're going to say typographical, but the records are there. On the 22nd of December, the Police Service Commission did not meet. We met on the 23rd. That is the same night when the president called me. I want to know why Brutus and Karim Bash and them were not on the promotion list. 23rd of December, 2 days before Christmas, because the next day is when Robeson communicated to Appy to have persons charged. And again, we have the documents. I have the documents. And let me go on. He said none of the officers purportedly promoted were interviewed nor engaged by the PSC before it arrived at its purported decision to promote. So what happened in last year, CC? They had interview and all them type of thing. Make a note, man. I want y'all bear with me, Mr. Conway, making a note. You can respond just. So let me read the back. He said none of the officers purportedly promoted were interviewed nor engaged by the Police Service Commission before it arrived at its purported decision to promote. What purported decision? The Constitution says is the Police Service Commission got to promote. So it have a purported decision. And in any event, on the 22nd, when you said it on the day 23rd, we did not conclude any list to promote anyone. A promotion shortlist was created on that day for further considerations. The record will show that. And Jagobin Jai Singh asked the records. You could doct it as much as you want because I have copies of the record as well. Right? The 23rd. And then he go down to say that what? The list was finalized. What he said? That the list was finalized. Approved, 6 approved. Nothing was approved. Nothing was approved. Before it could have approved, Brutus and others went to court and stopped the process. Nothing was approved. Liar, big man. Liar, big man. I want to know how they're sleep when the night come. I want to know how they're going to sleep. I'll tell you something about Mark Phillips a while ago, because he was part of this thing too. And I am sparing none of them. None of them will be spared. I'm telling the truth. If they want, let them take me to court. If they believe it, let them take me to court so I can produce all the documents. And if the doctrine, the documents of the police headquarters, and the documents of the police service commission, I have copies, hard copies and soft copies. And the hard copies that I have are well secured and circulated. The soft copies store where y'all can't even get them. So y'all could try. Y'all could try. Then it goes on to say, he said he's also aware. Listen to this, what he's saying, CC. I want to comment on this part. I'm also aware that the names of 2 senior superintendents of police, which were not on the list sent by the Commissioner of Police, were added by Mr. Paul Slow for submission to the Commission as officers to be considered for promotion. In all my years as Secretary to the Commission, I have never seen such a step being taken, as the Chairman and members of the Commission would always act on the recommendation of the Commissioner of Police, who himself as a reviewing team of senior police officers to screen suitable candidates. Just look, if I could reach out to me if I could reach me on from here where I am and catch Jagobin Jai Singh by the collar, because this man, all his blatant lies in a thing that I add persons. Mr. Conway, I want you to comment on that. Not at all, never happened. Never happened. Never. And then he goes on to say, and I'm winding down with what he said in paragraph 23, on July the 2nd, 2022, the reconstituted Police Service Commission, after deliberations, presenting an approved promotion list for appointments within the Guyana Police Force. That is based on a list prepared, received, and sent by the Commissioner of Police to the new Police Service Commission. Then he goes on to say the two officers referred to in paragraph 16 above were not in this list. In fact, one of those officers was subject to a disciplinary matter at the time the name was included on the list by Mr. Slow. And then finally, well, let me, that thing again, I said that is not true. None of the people that we promoted had any disciplinary matter pending. We know that Robeson-Ben, Minister of Home Affairs, had sent a list to Nigel Appy. The man carried out the functions of commissioner, and then Brutus wrote to several officers. I have the list of the officers he wrote to, alleging several criminal offenses as directed by the minister. Those letters are all dated the 24th of December, 2020. I have them. And then finally, and he says here, well, I read this already, that this, the affidavit is draft on my instructions by Mr. Darson, King's Counsel. Lie, and more lie. Mr. Conway, your piece, please. Come in and talk, man. I come in and help me whine.
I concur with all you said, Paul, and lies, and still more lies. Let me make it pellucid. The Police Service Commission is the sole authority in terms of promotion, disciplinary matters, and removal of office for ranks of inspector to assistant commissioner. And nobody else, no minister or nobody else. If you read Justice Corbyn's ruling in the Dookie case, where she made it clear that is the Police Service Commission, and even in the absence of the Police Service Commission, nobody could touch it. Nobody could deal with promotion, dismissal, or removal from office. It is the sole authority of the Police Service Commission. Let me go back to the Secretary Jai Singh. When we started as members of the Police Service Commission, we had a very efficient secretary, Ms. Stevens. And shortly afterward, they brought Jai Singh and placed him in us there. He was overseas, according to him, he was overseas, and he was recalled from his leave and sent as secretary for the Police Service Commission. Perhaps as secretary so that people could get confidential information of what took place. Remember, Brutus said that he received information through a confidential source in the Police Service Commission. You think about it. And let me talk about the list. It is a commissioner of police, or through the hands of the commissioner of police, that the recommendations are sent to the Police Service Commission and nobody else. And the commissioner is responsible for the superintendent of the force. No, he does not agree to no executive leadership team. The police standing order made it clear about the establishment of a committee to look at promotion, senior promotion and junior promotion. And it is a commissioner who has got to decide. And from our investigation, the list that they sent to us always padded, more corrupt than the voters list. We have to sanitize all the lists that came to us before we made promotion. Persons who didn't pass the exam, their record must pass. Person who passed the record, they have pass. Person with disciplinary matters. I remember Karimbash, Brutus, Bacchus, Jupiter, Stanley, Premnarine. All those persons had disciplinary matters and they recommended them for promotion. When the policy is clear, as long as you have matters pending, you cannot be promoted. And also in accordance with the rule 39 of the public service rules. So we had to go through all those lists, go through with a fine-teeth comb to make sure that it was pure. They padded up a corporate list coming to us all the time. And If we look at what used to happen, the previous commission, not our commission, where promotions, serious allegations, promotion, men pay for get promoted. People have to sex to get promotion, and a whole lot of irregularities and corrupt practices that exist there. You read some time ago, Paul, a report that was submitted with all the irregularities. And we couldn't sit down there as decent men, as honest men, and accept those things. And we're not bound to accept what used to happen before. If it is corrupt, if it is illegal, we couldn't have accepted it. And look at they label us as a rogue. Look what happened with the present Police Service Commission, where the Honorable Chief Justice ruled that it is not legally constituted. That is not legally constituted. The Constitution Act says there must be 5 members. You only have 4. And an important member is the chairman of the Public Service Commission. And there's no Public Service Commission. So she said it is illegal and they cannot perform any functions of the Police Service Commission. Lo and behold, I got to repeat it all the time. On the 1st of July, the not fully constituted and not legally constituted Police Service Commission, led by Bishop Patrick Finley. Patrick Finley, in an interview with one of the public relations officers of the man who's holding the seat as commissioner, stated that he was awaiting the list from the commissioner for ranks recommended for promotion. And on the 2nd of July, 250 something persons were promoted. And when you look at what happened, they promoted persons who were not in the force. They promoted a woman twice. They promoted persons who had display matters: Karen Bash, Brutus, Bacchus, Jupiter, Stanley, and Prem Narayan. Prem Narayan moved from inspector to superintendent. He has no outstanding record, either academically or professionally. And he jumped 280 something persons to move from inspector to superintendent. Perhaps he's a good athlete. He could broad jump, he could high jump, and he could triple jump. Maybe at the next Olympics we can send him, because we surely, with his jumping ability, he can win a gold medal for us. So the point I'm making is that this present Police Service Commission, led by Bishop Finley, that the judge ruled cannot perform the functions of this Police Service Commission, made promotion, but she used the doctrine of necessity, and she used a de facto principle to save the promotions. So I'm saying is that what the secretary stated there, complete lie, complete fabrication and total distortion of facts. We did what we had to do, and we're not compelled, or we will not allow things that used to happen in the past that were wrong, that were illegal, to continue. We set our own standards in accordance with the law and in accordance with the Police Service Commission rules.
Thank you very much, CC. Let me go on, because we talked just now about the secretary, and I ain't done with it yet. I ain't done. I'm coming back to the secretary in a while, with all the lies. But let me move on to the Prime Minister, Mark Phillips, super. That was I say what he called, saying in the army, super. He too was part of this thing. The man signed an affidavit and told a pack of lies. Let me show you all part of the affidavit, what he signed and said. Let me put it up there. I want you people to read. Let me go to the first page. Y'all read what this man said. I can leave it on for a while. He said he's Mark Anthony Phillips, Prime Minister of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, of Colgrane House, Lot 205, Camp Street, Georgetown, Demerara, being duly sworn, makes oath, and say as follows: I swear this affidavit of my own behalf and on the behalf of the second and third named respondents, being duly authorized to do so, the fact to which I depose herein are true and correct, and are within my personal knowledge, except where otherwise stated, in which case I verily believe the same to be true and correct to the best of my information. Then he goes on to say here now, I deny the averment contained in paragraph 22. Now, this what he's talking about here now is where I say in paragraph 22 of the affidavit that on the 16th of September 2020, I had a meeting with the president during which he wanted people to be promoted. He called Buta's name, he called Karimbash's name, he mentioned McPherson, and he mentioned other people and so on. So he's saying that no. And here what the man say he said no meeting was requested, arranged, or took place with Mr. Paul Slow, whether through an intermediary or otherwise, as alleged in paragraph 22.2 and 3, or at all. Then hear what the man go on to say here, buddy. Hear what this man go on to say. In fact, someone purporting to act on behalf of Mr. Paul Slow contacted the Attorney General and requested a meeting. I don't think the other part is there, and he said that request was denied. That is what the Prime Minister is saying. But let me put up what the President said. Hold on, bear with me. I get the evidence and I'll tell you all, look. This is the release from the President on the 31st of May 2021. That is following the charge, and I had a press conference and I told the world about what the President did. The President issued a press release on the same day, the 31st of May 2021. And the highlighted part, look what he said. He said, Mr. Slow, like other independent commissioners, the judiciary, and I had a meeting. At that meeting, I raised various concerns with him that were brought to my attention without prejudice. So Mark Phillips is saying that the meeting never took place, and the President is saying that again, like other independent commissioners, judiciary, and I had a meeting. It goes on to say, this is the next part. Look at the highlighted part here again. The President said, my meeting with Mr. Slow was within the first few months of my presidency. There's another part in this thing that hold on, y'all bear with me. There's another part which is not there, which I really wanted to read as well. So bear with me a while. Bear with me one moment. I have it somewhere here. I can read it. Where did I put it? It is a thing from the President. I can find it and read it for you, man. Now, no, here it is. Before we go to that, he said, hear what the President said in his press release on the 31st of May 2021. It is therefore not only opportunistic, but a total lie that the meeting with Mr. Slow was to exercise influence. The meeting, he admitted that the meeting, he says a lie, that the meeting was to exercise influence. And then he went on, this is the part that is highlighted here. He said, my meeting with Mr. Slow was within the first few months of my presidency, more than 8 months ago. The President acknowledged that the meeting took place. And Mark Phillips swore to an affidavit to say that no such meeting took place. And then Mark Phillips goes on to say that someone purporting to act on me called the Attorney General to arrange me. Let me tell you all this. I have never had a meeting or any discussion with the Attorney General face to face. Never. The only time I spoke to the Attorney General was at 2 meetings when after the court matter with Brutus, the Attorney General informed the Chief Justice that he wanted time to meet with the Police Service Commission to try to resolve the issue. As I have indicated before, I was abroad, and therefore Mr. Conway and others met in person. I joined the meeting virtually on 2 occasions. Never, look, let me tell you all this. Even in my days in the force as a police commander, I have never broken voice with the Attorney General. Never, ever. I have no recollection even meeting with the Attorney General at any place where he said good morning or good afternoon. Never, never. And Mark Phillips is saying that I called someone as the chairman of the Police Service Commission. Why would I want to meet with Attorney General, a man with whom I have never, ever spoken, never, ever broken voice? Never, never. Why would I want to meet with him? But you see the stringing, and they get Mark Phillips A man who people have people refer to in uncomplimentary terms, somebody right on this live, I have never said it, but perhaps the people are justified when they call him an slave. Because this is a man who signs a document with a pack of lie. Don't tell me he's so stupid that he can't read and try to verify these things. He just signed in blindly, like he did with the show cause letters. And what people fail to get, he signed so blindly that the first letter they signed at the wrong Public Service Commission, the first cause letter on the 19th of May. And then that was corrected to the Police Service Commission. So like he just signed in. Don't sign your own death warrant, bro. Don't sign blind. And that is what has happened. And I have a question here I want to ask before I begin, Mr. Conway. In terms of those two persons who really signed these false statements, I want to know if should there not be consequences for persons who swear to an affidavit and tell a lot of lie? I don't have to consult with my lawyers to decide on the way forward, because here what I say, the perjury. I believe that they committed perjury, because when you look at the definition, it says perjury is defined as a person willingly or knowingly making a false statement under oath. Perjury is not just lying to the court; it can also be lying under oath in civil depositions or written affidavits or declaration. That is what it says, perjury. And he lied in an affidavit. So I believe it's perjury. I will have to consult to find out. I know people will say, well, if you bring private criminal charges against them, the DPP then discontinue. Well, let's say discontinue. Let the record show, because I don't intend to take this line down. Can't get people lying on you in affidavit and leave it like that. Too many persons over the years have allowed these things to go by. Not Paul Slow. Not Paul Slow. I am not going to allow this to slide. On Friday, during the special that we had, my attorney, Mr. Selwyn Peters, spoke about magnanimity and all of that in relation to what they did. I don't believe I'm magnanimous any longer. Let the court decide on this issue. I am going through the court on issues. Let them go through the court on issues as well. They lie on affidavit, things that are easily proven. Easily proven. The evidence is there that they lie, and I believe that they should be made to face the consequences of the court. Let it discontinue. We're going to see where it goes. Mr. Conway, please.
Yeah, and I'm not think, according to the definition where you just read there, and what I know about is that they're well within the ambit of forgery. And let me get back to Jai Singh. With all those wild and wicked true allegations he made about the Police Service Commission, at our meetings, he never uttered a word about them, not a word about them. Perhaps he doesn't have spine, he ain't get backbone, or he ain't get no balls, as we say. Sat there, all those things he mentioned, and never uttered a word at our meetings.
Let me tell you something. You know, the Attorney General, as I said, and I'm going into the Friday night statement he made on NCN. I am going into to this now. Now, the ruling came out, and then he had this thing. This Attorney General, again, let them listen carefully. I know the recording and all of that. And if I see anything that is untruthful, they can sue me. They can decide that they're going to bring cybercrime charges against me. Let them go. Let them do whatever they want to do. I have made up my mind to tell the truth. And if telling the truth will cause you to be waddled, if telling the truth will cause you to be crummy-winged, if telling the truth will cause you to be bench-cupped, so be it. I will tell the truth. And for those of you who don't know what those terms refer to, I am talking about bench cup, get a trumped up treason charge. He spent about 5 years in jail before he was released. They're talking about Waddle, who was gunned down in front of his residence by the seawall some years ago. And they're talking about Crummy Wing, who was in Diamond protesting when E2 was gunned down. So the Lord is great, man. I put up my faith and trust in the hands of the Lord, and his will be done. So I am bothered with all them. His will be done. Let me go on. This is a man who come on the TV to talk all sort of crap. A man who was charged with thieving law books. A man who was charged with thieving. For those overseas people who don't know what is thieving, you always say he stole. He's alleged to have stolen law books. The allegation is that he stole law books when he demitted office as Attorney General around 2015. The allegation further is that, well, not allegation, he was charged. He was charged. The matter went through the magistrate court. The magistrate, Azur, found that there was a case for him to answer. In other words, the magistrate said there's a prima facie case for him to answer, and then he ran to all the appeal courts and all that type of thing. And eventually, when the government came in office in 2020, the DPP, I have the thing in here, the DPP discontinued the charges. The DPP discontinued the charges. So here we have a case where the matter he charged went to the court. He got an hearing, and the magistrate found that a prima facie case was made out against him. He ran to appeal and all kind of crap. Is there on the record? I'm doing the research. I get all the facts. He run and anything. This is the man, again, only recently. Yeah, you see, I don't remember, but I'm going to tell you all the thing. Only recently, I'm going to read it here. Only recently, this man was criticized for the premature release of the embargoed ruling regarding the election petition. And here was Justice Jacob Witt said about the Attorney General, Mr. Anil Nandalall, right? He said, and I'm quoting here, "This is totally unacceptable, and any further action of the court will be contemplated. For example, is it possible in cases like this to send an advance copy to Guyana?" That's what he's questioning. Is it possible in cases like this to send a copy to Guyana? I mean, and he goes on, I mean, this is really serious business, and we cannot have it. And this is something we will discuss in a broader form. Justice Witt went on to further to say that the Facebook post created the impression that the Attorney General had privileged access to information from the Caribbean Court of Justice. He is accused in that same matter of bringing the Caribbean Court of Justice into disrepute. That is the accusation against him. It is there, public record. Sue if you want to sue. Then another justice, Ragnath Lee, said she was concerned about the adverse impact of the release of the decision on the Attorney General's Facebook page. And I quote her here again. She said, "Apart from the apology and all those other things that I have heard today, I am very, very concerned about the impact of the integrity of the court, and I would like Counsel A to come up with something that will remedy that impact." They say the impact, adverse impact on the court. So that you have no credibility at all. And this is a man who come and made us a statement, which I will continue to address. Accused of bringing the CCJ into disrepute by releasing an embargoed decision of the court. Now, well, let me ask Mr. Conway to comment on that part before I go on. CC, you remember that case with the CCJ?
Quite clearly, and I remember what those judges mentioned quite clearly, bringing the court into disrepute. And I remember him running to the court after the judge said after the prima facie case had been made out against you, and he ran to the appeal court and he lost. And they waited until the government changed and a politically inclined office of the DPP null pros those matters. Not only he, we had Ashni Singh, we had Ashni Singh, we had Bashington, and we had Irfan Ali also, who had 19 fraud charges. So that wasn't legal issues. Those things were purely political.
Right. And let me go on now to tell you about the Attorney General said that he can appeal. Nothing wrong with that. That's a constitutional right. Somehow they believe that it's only they have rights, so he can appeal if he wants to appeal. But I'm confident that if it goes all the way to the CCJ will confirm the decision of Justice Gino Persaud, because I said it was well thought out. And let me say this: he can appeal how much he wants, right? And he's doing that because it's taxpayers' money he's using, right? We are confident that the well-articulated and reasoned decision of Justice Gino Persaud will be upheld by all the appeal courts, including the CCJ, right? And I remind you in the same matter, he did appeal all your part, when Justice Gino Persaud ruled as the Attorney General had made an application for the matter to be discontinued following the expiration of the life of the Police Service Commission on August 8th, 2021. He applied to the court for the matter to be discontinued, and the court, Justice Gino Persaud, ruled that notwithstanding the fact that the life of the commission ended, the matter was of sufficient public interest to be continued and ordered on its merits. And he then ordered that Paul Slow be substituted in the place instead of the Police Service Commission. That was the order of Justice Gino Persaud against him. And he appealed that. He appealed that to the full court. And the full court upheld the decision of Justice Gino Persaud. And then he moved to the full court again to seek leave to appeal their decision to the appeal court. And that was denied. So that is how he had to settle now and come up with this argument and argue the case at the thing. But something about appeal? Let me tell you all about appeal. I remember, if you all remember, a man named David Hill. Some of the younger ones here are not going to remember David Hill, better known as Rabbi Edward Washington. David Hill, better known as Rabbi Edward Washington. In 1986, and if you all know who is David Hill, ask Pilori Joe. Because Pilori Joe used to be one of the men selling plantain chips with Pilori Joe. Pilori Joe been with David Hill, Rabbi Washington, House of Israel. Then he went to PNC. He went to GGG. You remember that party, Good and Green for Guyana, headed by Hamilton Green? Pilori Joe went there, and now Pilori Joe in the PPP. So he's a grasshopper. He up all around. So if you don't know who Rabbi Washington is, ask Pilori Joe. He will tell you who Rabbi Washington is. So Rabbi Washington was charged for murder, which is alleged to have been committed in 1977. 1986, he got charged for murder. He was sentenced, well, I think it was broken down to manslaughter. He got sentenced to 5 years in prison. He appealed the matter to the Guyana Appeal Court. And having gone through the evidence, the appeal court added a further 15 years to the 5 years that he got. Let me repeat that. Rabbi Washington was sentenced to 5 years for manslaughter in 1986, somewhere around then. I did the research, I find the thing, I print it out. So I can't help laughing. The man appealed the 5-year sentence. The appeal court held that the sentence was too light, and they had another 15 years. He remained in prison until just after 1992, when the PPP came into office. They released him, and I think he died sometime after. So Nandalall can appeal how much he wants to appeal. I don't think in this case they can add anything to it. Perhaps they can, I don't know. But let him appeal as much as he wants to appeal. He might suffer the same fate like Rabbi Edward Washington, right, from the House of Israel. So let him go. He said, CC, that the case has no practical importance. That's what he said Friday night. That the case, referring to the case by where the judge ruled against him, it has no practical importance. Now, even that, I got the first question I got to ask. If it has no practical importance, why are you appealing? If this thing has no practical importance, why are you appealing? CC? Why? The tangled web they weave, they're confusing there. Oh, this case has no practical importance. I write it down here. If it doesn't get no practical importance, why would you think you would want to appeal, CC?
Paul, the thing is that, to use a local term, is that he put the president in pocketry. So he's fighting for his job, fighting for his survival. Is it a case that he misconduct himself in public office by giving the president wrong advice? Is he trying all out to see how he could wriggle out, but he can't wriggle out. He then sink in sand, and the sand is sinking. Or a man used to use a word, I think Alexander used to say, in deep potter.
Potter.
Yeah.
But see, you raise a good point. I believe all this, what is it? All this histrionics that from the Attorney General is because I believe that you're fighting for your own political life. Having misled the president on this and other serious constitutional issues, I believe that they got the ongs napping at the heels. So therefore, you feel you got to run to NCN Friday night and tell people a lot of crap. But I believe that he might be he might be fighting for his own political future. So you run to the appeal court. But as I've said, all the way to the CCJ, if he wants, the decision, I'm sure, will be upheld. Then this man, the next statement he made, he said, talk about the need to be independent. That's the need for the commission to be independent. And I am saying here, that is because of the independence of the commission, we refuse to cave in to the unlawful demands of the president to promote unqualified officers. It's because we're independent. Had we not been independent, when the president told me he wants people promoted, and I communicated that to the other members, they would have said, let me go. We're independent, and we are honest, and we are professional, and we have integrity. So we said, now, we got to follow the established rules. The people get pending disciplinary matters, and they are not going to be considered for promotion. So he talked about that. And then he said, CCA, I want you, this, he said that what he said, Paul Slow is an open critic of the government, and that is no secret. Well, let me tell you that. And after this, I'm going to invite CC to make his own comment on that part of it. I became the chairman of the Police Service Commission on the 9th of August, 2018. Right? I and the other members were sworn in. Now, between 2018, August 2018, the 9th of August 2018, and when the commission came to an end, I did not even make a comment on social media, Facebook or elsewhere. As a matter of fact, if you check the records, people who follow me will know that it was on the 1st of October 2021 that I came out from what I call my self-imposed exile. And one of the first comments I made, apart from announcing that I'm coming out of exile, was on the Brickdam fire. So for the whole 3-year period, and let me say further, if when I expose corruption and incompetence that is seen as being a critic of the government, then so be it. I will continue to expose corruption and incompetence. See, let me hear you comment. Can you mention you too? He said, you like call me name, you know, my name easy. Everything you open mouth is Paul Slow. Every time you open mouth, I don't even remember if he called your name, but he did allude to you being a critic as well. So CC,
no, he pulled me inside. He called my name, critic of the government, so nobody can criticize the government. And let me make this thing clear. After I retired from the Ghana Police Force, I started, and that's over a decade ago, I started to write comments on law enforcement, not political matters, law enforcement. I've sent my letters, my emails to all the newspapers in this country. Chronicle and Times on a rare occasion would publish my letter. The other would carry it. And I've been expressing my views on law enforcement matters. And also, I believe in the Constitution, which talks about protection of freedom of expression. And let me read Article 146(1) of the Constitution. It says, except with his or her own consent, no person shall be hindered in the employment of his or her freedom of expression. That is to say, freedom to hold opinions without influence, freedom to receive ideas and information without influence, freedom to communicate ideas and information without influence, and freedom from interference with his or her correspondence. I believe in the Constitution, and I believe I have a right to express my views freely without interruption, without interference. And let me make the point that when I became a member of the Police Service Commission, I completely stopped writing on issues relation to law enforcement. I didn't write a word about it. After we were unjustly, illegally suspended, then I started to write back. And I don't do it with political matters. Many politicians on both sides of the political divide invited me to be on their platform, their social media platform, to discuss matter, and have quietly turned down the invitation because I do not want to sound as though I'm a politician. I am a political. And remember in the early 70s, I heard a speech from Forbes Burnham. I don't believe everything we say, but he said, hey, in essence, he was addressing his comrades. And he said, comrades, politics does not have rules. You play it as you see it. Today it's right, tomorrow it may be wrong. It is not for Sunday school teachers. And he concluded by saying, and comrades, he who is politically appointed will be politically disappointed. There I stay away from politics. Since 1973, I was entitled to vote at elections, and I have never voted for any political party in this country. All the elections I have never voted for anything. I am a political. I don't believe in politics. And I remember Bonham said, politics ain't get rules. And he who is politically appointed will be politically disappointed. Maybe that's why the Attorney General is fighting, but he was politically appointed. Maybe he'll be politically disappointed. So the thing is that I am entitled to freedom of speech. And if what I say in relation to law enforcement, if the Attorney General feel that I am a critic of the government, so be it. And I repeat myself, persons on both sides of the political divide have asked me to be on the social media platform, and I have declined because I don't want to sound political.
But right, you have a right. You have a right. You have a constitutional right. The Justice Gino Persaud pointed that out on Friday. But let me move on. Because one of the issues he raised to make big noise on it Friday night is the fact that the commission, our commission, joined in with member of parliament, Guy Mike Paul, to challenge the legality of the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act. Now, let me give you a quick background to that. I spoke about it before, but again, I say the teaching part in me would not permit me to assume that everyone understands. Now, when we got to the Police Service Commission, a report was made, sent to the commission about the conduct of Senior Superintendent Fazil Karimbash, and an investigation was launched. Now, once the investigation was launched, a recommendation came to the commission for him to be charged departmentally. Well, recommendation was made, and it was decided, we were advised by the legal officer to proceed departmental charge. So two departmental charges were instituted, and he moved to the High Court to have the matters struck out. Now, the Attorney General's chamber, this very Attorney General's chamber, entered a defense on behalf of the Police Service Commission. A few days, I think the Thursday, the matter was a Monday or a Tuesday. Some days before the matter came up before the judge, the Attorney General's chamber withdrew the defense that was filed on behalf of the Police Service Commission. We then were left in a quandary because we had to get representation. We met and we decided that we're going to reach out to a senior counsel to represent us. The issue arose as to money. How we going to get money? So when the secretary was asked about money, the secretary said, unfortunately, we don't have any money. So we advised him, or we instructed him, to write to the Ministry of Finance to get money for us to retain legal counsel. The Finance Ministry, again, all the letters are here, so don't think. The Finance Ministry wrote to tell the Police Service Commission that, look, we have no money to give. Let the Attorney General's chamber represent you. And the Attorney General chambers could not have represented us because the CCJ ruled in the Brent Griffith case that the Attorney General's chamber cannot represent constitutional and semi-independent, sometimes they use bodies. So that, as a result of that, the Attorney General pulled out. So now we have to then ask, when the matter came up, we had to ask the judge for time to refile the defense, which we did, and we used the in-house counsel, refile the defense, and all of that. So when this guy, my Paul case came standing, is that prior to the 2021, I think, budget, constitutional agencies like the Police Service Commission was given a lump sum money, and we would decide how to use up the money. Now, after the amendment, it didn't, that privilege was taken away, where the privilege as a right was taken away. And what happened then? Every time you want money, you have to go back, you have to go to the Ministry of Finance. So we said that's wrong. You can have an independent as constitutional body. Everything they want to do is then you have to run to the Ministry of Finance, and they tell you, no, we ain't get money for you to do this. No, we ain't get money. So where is the independence? So it's on that basis we decided to join in the Paul case. And he make a big set of noise over it. He make a big set of noise. But I want to say this too. It was not only the Police Service Commission that joined Paul. Other service commissions as well, including the Public Service Commission and the Teacher Service Commission. But the only commission they came after for suspension was the Police Service Commission. Check the records there. Why? Other commissions, several other commissions joined in the garnish Paul application against the government. They didn't, and you look at Nandalall talking a whole set of crap, right? But they didn't do anything against those commissions. The only commission they came after was the Police Service Commission. The question is why? And I say, I am telling you, it relates right back to September the 16th to the meeting I had with the president, and when his demands or his wishes were not carried out by the Police Service Commission, so they decided they're going to come after we. They are going to come after we, they're going to get rid of we because we were promoting people who are deserving, and we were not promoting their unpicked people. CC, you want to comment on that? I know you're familiar with the details as well.
Yeah, that is true, because they said they didn't have any money to give us, and the thing was that the Service Commission used to get a lump sum of money for them to do their work. Now the Ministry of Finance saying they don't have any money, and here we have a matter before the court. You have to find an attorney, right? So we rightfully join others, and as you mentioned, other service commissions joining it, and nothing was heard but Conway and Slow were members of the chairman and a member of the Police Service Commission. So the target was Conway and the target was Slow. And that was it.
Now let me invite you to continue to share the live. We're going long this morning. We have enough more to talk about. I see we get big numbers. So let me continue to share the live. Continue to share the live. I see, let me bring up one or two people. Kashwar is here. He said, what he said, good job, sir. Tell them true. That is what we do all the time. That is what we do all the time. Then our Audrey said we must lock them away and throw away the key. And then we have comments here from Kibran. And many persons here. Angela, Mark, how you do? Angela is here, all the way from West Coast. Bobby's Wendy Fraser is here as well. Oh Lord, Ingrid is here on Facebook. Court is here making comment as well. So many persons are here. Another regular, Carol, welcome. Carol is here. I don't know if Adimak, I know Adimak don't miss, so I'm sure she's here watching. Trifosa, Sister Trifosa is here as well. Tell me keep exposing them. We will continue to do so. And then Colin is saying here, appeal is hard to win. 20 out of 100% loss in Court of Appeal. Deslin is here as well. Let's continue to share the live. Another Raul, this time Daniels is here. Let's continue to share the live, folks. Let's continue to share the live. We have a long way to go. We go in this morning. As I said, the tickle-wee, and we wind in. The tickle-wee and we wind in. Godfrey is here. Godfrey said we must beat and teach. And that is exactly what we're going to do. Now, let me continue. He made an issue about the fact that Slow and Conway are charged for conspiracy to commit fraud. Yeah, that is true. We charge a conspiracy to commit fraud, all part of this diabolical scheme to get rid of the Police Service Commission. But you know, he the charge, as we say, for thieving law books. The president had 19 fraud charges. At least Asnishing had charge. Winston Brassington had charge. But as the judge pointed out, and I'm going to read it in a while, in Guyana, Article 144 is a presumption of innocence. So even though you're charged, and here what the judge was skating in this remark. Here what the judge said. And I'm reading. Justice Gino Persaud stated, on the issue of criminal charge, lest we forget, in this republic, there is an enshrined principle backed by constitutional muster to which every citizen of this country is afforded. And that is the right to the presumption of innocence as set out in Article 144(2) of the Constitution. Mr. Slow has not been convicted of any charges. At the time when he was suspended, he was entitled to that presumption. The mere institution of charges cannot amount to misbehavior proper, except and until the person has been adjudged as guilty by a competent tribunal. Therefore, to act on reliance of charges cannot be the basis to justify the president's unconstitutional conduct. That is what Justice Gino Persaud said. So you make big nice how Slow and Conway were members of the commission and they did work, they did consultancy and received pay and all of that, he said. And as we have said before, the commissioner then, Leslie James, invited us to a meeting and requested of us to assist in the doing over of the standing order. And that is what we did. There was no conspiracy. And we can't discuss this any more in any greater detail because the matter is still before the court. And you know, we are law-abiding citizens. We're not gonna go in, but we're saying he didn't feel chained or restricted from talking about it. So I need to respond to that part. I'm not going to go into all the details, but suffice to say that I'm going to talk about we here is me, Mr. Conway, Mr. Whitaker, George Fraser, Mark Gilbert, Marceline Washington, Royston Andrews Jr., and who's the next person? Kelman, I think it is, CC. Marlon Kelman, I think it is. The next person is charged. I think it's Kelman. We are anxiously awaiting our day in court. We are not, we don't have the authority to run to the DPP to have the matter discontinued. We want the matters before the court, let it remain before the court, and let them prove that there was some form of conspiracy. So he made the point, so I thought it important that I respond to that part of it. Mr. Conway, do you want to respond to that part?
Certainly, Paul, certainly. He called my name. Conway and Slow get charged. And I want to make it clear that we gonna fight our case to the very end. And even if even if we make no case submission and the magistrate overrule or no case submission, we're not gonna run to no appeal court to actually be turned around. And we're not gonna wait for a government change and a politically inclined DPP asks the DPP to null plus what the charge. No, we stick to it to the very end, and we know that we are innocent, and then we know that it will even reach no case, it will finish at no case submission state. Now let me make the point that law enforcement has a rigorous standard. Proof beyond any reasonable doubt. I repeat, proof beyond any reasonable doubt. Or in other words, innocent until proven guilty. And law enforcement, there must be a wall, a sacrosanct wall that separates law enforcement from political decisions. I always remember the Carville Duncan case where the same Nandalall said, the president, he was talking about Granger, has flagrantly violated violated the letter, spirit, and intent of some of the most sacrosanct constitutional procedures. He went on to say, in democratic countries, president and more so prime ministers have been impeached for violence. It was good for Granger. It ain't good for Ali. It ain't good for Ali. It is good for the goose, but it's not good for the gander. But we'll have our day, and we're not gonna run to nobody to ask them to not press our case. We will be vindicated, Paul.
But I'm sure about that. I am sure, I'm confident, just as I was confident that the challenge to the unlawful suspension we would have been successful. Similarly, I'm confident. I see Lado, welcome, man. Welcome to the live, Lado. Welcome to the live. Well, now, and he goes on and he talks about, again, slow sexual improper conduct with a female officer of the force. And then he said, again, I'm not going to say much about this because this matter is before the court. And unlike the Attorney General, I'm a law-abiding citizen, so therefore, the fact that the matter is sub judice, I'm not going to make comment, except to say that he said, and this is what he said, that the complaint was made in 2019, and it was swept under before it became public in 2020. Lie. Anil, your nose getting like Pinocchio there. Lie. No complaint was made in 2020. You see the harping on this 2020 year for show that a lot of things, all of these things happened in 2021, all these allegations. The conspiracy to commit fraud, this sexual allegation happened. The allegation is that the incident took place in 2019, but the allegation was made in 2021, 2 years after. And again, I said, we are not going much into that because the matter is before the court. As a matter of fact, on Friday, that's Friday 31st, the matter comes up again. So I have to be in court on Friday. I'm looking forward. I ain't running an idea. I ain't running to no DPP to tell DPP, that DPP for discontinue. I want the matter ventilated in court. I want the matter ventilated in court. Then the next thing he talks about here is the police officers approached the court to challenge the manner in which the Police Service Commission was treating with their appointments. He said they were bypassing promotion. Disciplinary charges were deliberately not being ordered by the Police Service Commission, and they're not airing charges so as to keep them from being promoted. Another lie. The people went to court. First of all, even before they went to court, I think he mentioned that too. On the 17th of December 2020, through the attorney C.V. Satram, they sent letters to the Police Service Commission, basically saying, and I have a copy of one right here. I have all of them, but pull up one here, that they know that they have pending disciplinary matters. And they were saying that they know too that the Police Service Commission was to meet shortly to consider promotions. And they were saying to the attorney that no such consideration should be had until such time that the matters against them were ordered and determined. And then they went on to threaten that should the Police Service Commission go ahead with promotions without the completion of their disciplinary matters, they are going to move to the court to stop the proceeding. That is the gist of the complaint. That is what they say. That is what they say. It was Brutus. Brutus was joined by, y'all must know, members of the force and the public must know who these people were. And I'll call the name. So Brutus was the man who initiated the court action. He was later joined by Superintendent Chief Persaud Bacchus. He now is a senior superintendent in charge of the Region 6, East Morbies. They were also joined by Deputy Superintendent Ravindra Stanley. When last I checked, he was at the, what they call it, Regional Division 4B. That is Diamond as the second in command. He's now a superintendent. Woman Assistant Superintendent Siobhan Jupiter. I'm not sure where she is, but she was joined. She's now a superintendent. She jumped from ASP to superintendent. And Inspector Prem Narayan, who was an inspector, and he is now a superintendent. The records will show that he joined the force in 2000. So he has just about 23 years service, just under 23 years. He got 3 promotions. His first promotion was from constable to corporal. His next promotion was from corporal to inspector. And his third promotion was from inspector to superintendent. That is it. This is a man, again, the records, the thing will show when they had the breaking down of the chairman's office at GCOM there in Hatfield Street, the building there in Hatfield Street where they had the Region 4. election building. He was one of the men with the then opposition leader and the presidential candidate and all of them storming that building. He was a police inspector stationed at West Demerara. I remember the matter well. He had left that same morning to attend court somewhere, Georgetown or someplace else. But after court, he found himself at GCOM building. He found himself as GCOM building with those politicians trying to get into the chairman's office. And you want to tell me about unprofessionalism and favoritism and all sort of crap the Attorney General talking about. I'll tell you all this morning, they tickle me. And as they tickle me, I can whine. I ain't finishing. I ain't done. So that is it. They moved to the court. And what he did not say, no, let me tell you all further. Because they moved to the court, initiated by Brutus. I always remember what Shakespeare said about Brutus. You must look at it. Initiated, joined by these others, right? And they said that they should be promoted, or at least it should be considered, or the disciplinary matter should be concluded. And in the promotion return sent to the Police Service Commission in 2020, which was signed by Brutus, they identified 16 ranks who should not be promoted because they had pending disciplinary matters. And on that same list, Brutus put the others. And here let me tell you what's the breakdown. The breakdown was 7 ASPs who they say had disciplinary matters and should not be considered for promotion, 4 inspectors and 5 sergeants. They had disciplinary matters, and the police administration wrote to the Police Service Commission to say that these 16 persons should not be considered for promotion because they had pending disciplinary matters, right? And Brutus moved to court, joined by these others, and when the return came, even though they had pending disciplinary matters, they recommended themselves for promotion. What happened last year, 2022, July? All of these people with disciplinary matters were promoted. So Nandalall, go and come again, reel and come again, And I got more to talk about. I've got more to talk, but let me bring in CC to give his piece on this part.
Yep, Paul. When Brutus and Karambash took the Service Commission to court, they didn't do that on their own free will, their volition. They were intellectual artists. There were 2 attorneys of law who are members of the PPP. Those were the persons who were responsible, and then they got them to take us to court. And the judge showed the matters. The Chief Judge said it was frivolous and vexatious. And he even mentioned that Brutus was self-serving. And look at the promotion with that jumper, Prem Narayan. I said we should carry him to the Olympics. Perhaps I need to call Godfrey Monroe, the new president of the GOC, and say, hey, you have a candidate who can win a gold medal at the Olympics because he could broad jump, he could high jump, he could triple jump. So the thing is that on one hand they're saying, don't promote these people, and then the next hand they're saying, hey, these people that we send to you, although they have disciplinary matters, we must promote them. What poppycock?
Well, you forget one thing, the man should go. I represented Guyana in the West Indies in rifle shooting. I represented Guyana in the police force in pistol shooting. You call a lot of sports, but the man is a shoot man, I understand. I don't know him to be in the Guyana National Rifle Association, but here he could shoot too. So maybe he can go and represent Guyana in that as well. But let me continue. Nandalall goes on, he said complaint relating to the list the Police Service Commission wanted to promote, which list did not follow the procedure that existed for a number of years in the police force in respect of how police officers are to be appointed. The procedure was abandoned by the Police Service Commission. That is what he said. But let me point it out to him that again, I tell you how I love to do my research. On December the 31st, 2015, there is an article in the Kaicho News by a guy we used to call the crime chief, Dale Andrews, the late Dale Andrews. It is captioned, "Top cop upset with delay in police promotions." Top cop upset. And here, wait, I'm going to read that, but let me read some important part. He said the Police Service Commission, and that is what he's saying, Dale Andrews is writing the article. The Police Service Commission might have played into the hands of former Home Affairs Minister Clement Roy and has delayed the announcement of the much anticipated police promotion. The move has upset Commissioner of Police Justice Persaud, who believes that it stems directly from concerns raised by Roy about the pending disciplinary matters against certain senior police officers. It would also seem that Roy still exerts some amount of influence on the current PSC, which was constituted under his watch as Minister of Home Affairs. Speaking to members of the media yesterday at a special end-of-the-year press conference, Commissioner Persaud said that he is very disappointed at the move by the Police Service Commission, since it will definitely have debilitating effects on the morale of ranks. Then Justice Persaud goes on to say, according to this news item, that yesterday I received a communication saying that the police promotions will be on or before February the 23rd. So it played right into the former minister's hands, the commissioner said, obviously referring to Roy's call for the process to be held back to facilitate a disciplinary matter against Assistant Commissioner David Ryan. Then the article goes on, the commissioner, in defending the force position on the outspoken Ramnarine, explained that there can be no pending disciplinary matter since there is no charge laid against the Assistant Commissioner. And the article goes on. The article, December 31st, 2015, and then the same commission, same thing that I got a next article where, remember, Silal and them promote these two men who were charged for torturing this boy at West, somebody named Thomas. And Silal's story was, life must go on. This is according to Stabrook News, February 15, 2015. He said, life must go on. That is what he said. He said, and the thing says, speaking for the first time, Persaud argued that even though the High Court, and hear this, interesting, Persaud said that argued that even though the High Court had found the ranks liable for torture, they were not given a chance to represent themselves in the case, and therefore natural justice did not prevail. You have a stupid, so let me read about a commissioner of police is saying that that even though the High Court had found the ranks liable for torture, they were not given a chance to represent themselves in the case, and therefore natural justice did not prevail. What CC, help me out here, man. That thing makes sense to you? Men found in the High Court
how it could make sense when the High Court found them liable. But let me just stick with that service commission. The chairman, the Attorney General want to paint a picture that we were political. The chairman of that service commission that promoted people who had to pay money, that promoted women who had to give up their body to them. Where is he now? He is the deputy political head of the PPP, and he's in Region 3. He's a deputy regional chairman, a political appointment. Perhaps then when he was chairman of the Police Service Commission, he wasn't political. But now that things have changed, he is now political. So, a whole set of nonsense playing, Paul. And I don't know what's wrong with the Attorney General, but let's say he's trying to save his job.
Yeah, he tried. You said what since, because the same person referred to the report that I have, and I said the people found that he has been a member of the PPP for a long time. Not only he, I think they say his brother-in-law, who is in Queens. The report is also a financier of the PPP. So Anil Nandalall, you got to come better. You have to come better. Then he talk about violating the procedure. He say how we violate the procedure. What violation of procedure? What violation? We made sure that the procedure as laid down in Standing Order 22 of the Ghana Police Force was followed, right? Where the police administration did not follow it, did not, for example, ensure that only persons who passed certain qualifying examination were recommended. We are the ones who did the diligent work to identify that. When Jai Singh talk about inclusion of persons, we, the commission, because in many cases they tell you that persons should not be promoted, and now let's say they should not be considered at this time. And we ask why. Let's see the file. So normally they send the files, we'll ask for the files of those persons who were recommended. And we took it upon ourselves to ask for files too of persons who were not recommended to see why they were not recommended. And Jai Gobind Jai Singh, the Secretary of the Police Service Commission, publicly praised us for the fairness and thoroughness in the process. He said he had never seen that in all the years, because in the affidavit somewhere, I think he mentioned he had been there for 15 years. So he had never seen such fairness and such thoroughness in the process. And then he swears to an affidavit and he tells a lot of lies. The process is according to the standing order, is simple. This thing we talk about executive leadership is rubbish. There are two promotion boards, or there should be two promotion boards in the police force. You have the junior promotion board, and it's the junior promotion board that deals with the junior ranks. This executive leadership team they call now, that is what they think. And that is from promotion up to sergeant. When it comes to promotion above sergeant, right, it is the senior promotion board, chaired by the Commissioner of Police, and includes Deputy Commissioner Admin, Deputy Commissioner Operations, Deputy Commissioner Law Enforcement, and Deputy Commissioner Special Branch. That is the procedure. And they will go through the work and they send it to the Police Service Commission. And it's the same thing once it comes. We have a duty and a responsibility. We're not going to rubber stamp anything. Let's say what the thing come on different lists and all sort of crap he talk about. In 2009, when Ronald Gadraj was the chairman of the Police Service Commission, a member of PPP and chairman of the Police Service Commission, Gadraj threw away the list sent by the police force because he said he did not stick to the deadline that he had demanded. He did right to say promotion should come by a certain time, and the administration had some difficulties in reaching their deadline. He threw it out and he promoted his own people. I know about that. I know about that. He threw it out, he promoted his own people. So when they come and they talk about procedure, now once the list comes to the Police Service Commission, we do it with due diligence and diligent work. We're not going to rubber stamp anything. So if they leave out someone and they can't justify why that person is not recommended, we reserve the right. The Constitution gave us that right to promote that person, and that is what we did. Conversely, if they recommend someone who, for example, as we have found, disciplinary matters against them, people who allegation of corruption has been made, we're not going to promote them, and that is what we did. That is what we did. We went through the list with a fine-tooth comb, and that is what Brutus and them couldn't handle. They ran to the court. So when you talk about the procedure, I can tell you about the procedure. I can tell you about the procedure because I studied it as laid out in Standing Order 22, and I have institutional memory as to how the things should work. So this nonsense we're talking about there, then he said, well, I spoke about the letters written on the 17th, where they wrote the letter and threatened the commission. And then he talked about that. Then hear this part, man. This is the part, to me, the sweetest part. Pull out your corks and your popcorn, man. Throw back and listen. Carol, listen. Court, Deslin, Jermaine, Commissioner Cole. Yeah, listen. Patrick, listen to what this man says here. The man said that the police service commission, he talked about our police service commission, moved with breakneck speed to have the promotions done. That's what he said. We moved with breakneck speed to have the promotions done. Let me give you the timeline. In August of 2020, at a meeting, we instructed the secretary to write to the police service commission, not this secretary, the previous secretary, Ms. Stevens, to write to the police service commission to ask them to submit recommendations for promotion, and we had given them a deadline. I can't remember the exact deadline, right? Now, all right. So we were of the impression that that was done. Now, when I met with the president on the 16th of September, 2020, when I reported to the members when he came up at the meeting, We then discover that the secretary did not send off the letter as we had instructed. And the letter was sent off after September 16. I was mad over it because I told her and I told the commission, it created the impression that it's only because of the meeting I had with the president that we are now hustling to send out, which wasn't the case. We had given directions to the secretary before, since August, to have it sent off. But we didn't blame her. Some administrative problem, some administrative snafu, it was not sent. So it was sent. Now, the police, through Calvin Brutus and administration, wrote to the Service Commission, I have the document, asking for an extension of the deadline. They could not have met the deadline, and he asked. And it was granted. Because I don't think you could do anything else. You have a deadline to meet, and then meet the deadline. Perhaps you could have done like Ronald Gajraj and go ahead and promote your own people. We did not do that. We gave them the deadline that they asked for. Eventually, they submitted a list. When the recommendations come, we first met on the 23rd of December, 2020. So this thing when I talk, well, the 22, the 22nd of Jai Singh's talk about, maybe you could say there is a mistake. But the records will show we met for the first time on the 22nd of December. We met again on the 30th and the 31st. That was the process. When the injunction came, preventing us from proceeding with the process. So that is a break. Smack Speedy talking about from August to December. Put that against, juxtapose that against this current commission that Mr. Conway talked about, right? On the 1st of July, this Patrick Finley, the bishop, chairman of the Police Service Commission, said that they hadn't met to consider promotion. And the next day, promotions came out. I think it's 234. I did the check. I get the list, you know. I'll tell you, I'm a memory warrior. I'm a record man. I get the list. The promotions came out. And what happened? Let me tell you why the promotions came out with such haste. And he talked about it. But let me address it now. Now, once the new, remember we were suspended on the 16th of June 2021. There was no commission thereafter. For a long time, there ain't no commission. And then the word was, a matter of fact, the new commission was sworn in. The same commission the Chief Justice said is not properly constituted. So after they were sworn in, I had a discussion with my lawyers. And I said, well, we had a list of 132 persons pending, and therefore we should make sure that this matter involving us and those 132 persons are decided before they make any promotion. And therefore, on the 28th of June, 2022, that's last year, we filed an injunction to prevent the newly constituted Police Service Commission from making any promotion until the matter that we had filed in July of 2021 was ordered and determined. That's the same matter the judge ruled on Friday last. That is what we did. We moved. Now, the matter was filed on Friday. And the Monday after that Friday was CARICOM Day. It was a public holiday, right? So even though the matter filed, remember, the first occasion the matter could have come up before the judge was the Tuesday. What they did, because you know when they serve this, you got to serve them a copy. They rush ahead over the weekend to do the promotion. So by the time the matter came up on Tuesday, they would have said, well, the promotion already made. You know, you can't injunct a matter that has already been done. You can't injunct an action that has already been done. So that is how that happened. So rush, once they get the thing on the Friday, the Patrick Finley, the bishop, said, well, yes, and he was being candid in that respect. But thereafter, when the list bracy the next day, he had to sign off. As a matter of fact, that he didn't even sign. And then the secretary said, hey, what the secretary said, Jai Singh said in the affidavit. Let me read it back, man. Let me read it back. Yes, Machu, we got to go long today. We going long today. He said, hold on, bear with me, man, bear with me. I want to quote them. He said that here it is, in paragraph 23. He said on July the 2nd, rather, 2022, the reconstituted Police Service Commission, after deliberations, After deliberations, presented an approved promotion list for appointment within the Ghana Police Force. What deliberations? What deliberations? Yes, Angela, thank you. I'll take my time. I whining, when you're whining, you don't whine slow. My name slow, when I whine slow. I whine with speed. It's Destra. It's Marshall. It's pace and power. It's shadow. It's crazy. Crazy is crazy. Nani wine. Nani wine. Nani wine down low. Nani wine down low. Nani wine. It's why not whining today. Today is the day. I'm going to talk this thing today. I ain't holding back at all. I ain't holding back. I see my Russian friend come there, come on, yeah, my Russian friend. So that is what happened. They rushed with the promotion, end up promoting people who left the work, end up promoting one person twice, and all of the crap they did. So he talk about breakneck speed. That is Anil Nandalall telling about breakneck speed. You know what is breakneck speed? That breakneck speed is when on the 1st of July, you say you're dealing with promotion, and on the 2nd, you promote 234 persons, including all who end there in the job, all who get disciplinary matters, and all that. CC, your turn to bat.
Yeah, I agree with you, Paul. And the breakneck speed is not us. The breakneck speed is the present, what the Chief Justice said, not lawfully and fully constituted Police Service Commission. On the first, we gotta stress it. On the first, the chairman is saying he waiting for the list. And on the second, 200 odd persons get promoted with all the irregularities. Persons who left the work get promoted. Persons get promoted twice. Persons, all of them with disparate matters. Karen Bash, Brutus, all of them with disparate matters get promoted, right? So the thing is that the breakneck speed is with the present, and I'm saying not legally and fully constituted Police Service Commission. And up to now, they should run with breakneck speed and appoint the Public Service Commission so that the chairman of the Public Service Commission can become a member of the Police Service Commission, and then it will be fully constituted to perform the functions of the Service Commission. But no, they're waiting. Maybe next year this time they might still be on.
Yeah, it's my brother. Let me tell you all this. Remember, I told you all that when Brutus sent the return to the Police Service Commission in December 2020, they had 60 names of persons who they claim should not be promoted because they have disciplinary matters pending. And he and others have disciplinary matter pending, and they recommend him. I got the list here. This is the list, the 16 list with all the names of the persons. Let the bottom in, we're gonna show it, we're gonna print it and show it on thing a day. So let the ranks who were so discriminated against know who they are. I have it here. As I said, 7 ASPs, and then you have 4 inspectors, and you have the rest are sergeants. I have the list. I have the list of the persons who they discriminated against. So let it come. Let them come. Now the next thing I got to talk about here, he talk about, CC, you're gonna like this one. He said he called the commission a rogue commission. He said we are a rogue commission. And here, let me tell you something. Let me tell you about a rogue commission. Before I go to telling you that, let me tell you what rogue is, according to the dictionary. They say a rogue is a dishonest or unprincipled person. Listen to this carefully. They say a rogue, according to the dictionary, the dictionary say a rogue is a dishonest or unprincipled person. And I would believe that someone who the CCJ said has brought the Caribbean Court of Justice into disrepute is an unprincipled person, a whining. And let me tell you about the previous commission. The previous commission dismissed cases against ranks after disciplinary action was recommended by the Police Complaints Authority and the DPP. I got the list here. If you check September the 4th, 2017, Guyana Chronicle, it said PSC orders Top Cop to dismiss DPP recommended charges against police officers. And I'm going to read a part. He said, despite recommendations from the chairman of the Police Service Commission, retired Justice Cecil Kennard, and Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, Shalimar Aliak, to have disciplinary action taken against several ranks of the Guyana Police Force for varying infractions, the Police Service Commission recommended those matters to be dismissed. In a letter dated July 14, 2017, addressed to the Commissioner of Police, Silal Persaud, Chairman of the PSC, Omid Satnanan, said, the Police Service Commission has reviewed a list of disciplinary matters at interviews held and has recommended that the following disciplinary matters should be dismissed, i.e., no charge should be instituted against those persons. Among the persons listed, I get the whole list of persons here. Let me tell you, among the ranks are Senior Superintendent Errol Watts, who was fingered in the alleged theft of fuel. That is what I say, buddy, not me. So when you want to sue or you want for God and say you get emotional distress, not me. So when you talk about the rogue commission, there's got to be a rogue commission. That one is the rogue commission where the chairman of the police complaint authority recommend disciplinary charges, the DPP recommend disciplinary charges, and the chairman of the police service commission, I mean, the things that Omid Satnanan wrote to the police and said dismiss. And we discussed that because how can you dismiss when you ain't got no trial? How can you dismiss? There were no trial, but they dismissed. And the allegation was that some of the ranks paid to have the matters dismissed. That was the allegation. So you're talking, Nandalall, you're talking about a rogue commission? You really want to talk about a rogue commission? This is the same commission, this the one I'm talking about, who promoted a man from a sergeant to inspector. And when the commissioner, Silal Persaud, told them that a friend of his told Silal that Ait had some matter pending, they rescinded the promotion without any due process. And then when the matter was investigated, they found that it was not so. The man had no matter pending. That is rogue commission. If you want to talk about the rogue commission, talk about the commission that Senior Superintendent Ramsey took to court. And if you don't remember the matter, let me tell you. Ramsey was recommended for promotion by the Guyana Police Force, the same administration that Jaigobin Jai Singh talking a lot of nonsense about the procedure. When it went there, the understanding is that he was promoted, but when it went to the other commissions, because in them days they had 2 chief police service commissions, his name was removed and put other people's name put in. He challenged it and he went to court to say that he was discriminated against. And as I said before, when the matter was ventilated and the man bring the fact, the first thing they said, oh, they didn't promote him because he was close to retirement. The man did the research and showed that in previous times, there are 2 senior superintendents who were on pre-retirement leave and were promoted while they were on pre-retirement leave. And he had not gone on pre-retirement leave as yet. At that stage, the very Attorney General's chamber, Chuckin, they then contest the matter. Chuckin, I ain't even sure if Ramsey get, Courtney Ramsey is the matter. I got a copy of the pleadings here. Courtney Ramsey. So if you want to talk about a rogue commission, you must talk about those things. Talk about those things, Mr. Attorney General. CC, let me hear what you got to say about this if you remember this matter well.
That's true. And if he labeled me as a rogue also, I never talked to this before, but when I reach retirement age, the PPP government that was in power offered me an extension to serve the police force for another 4 years, to deal specifically with training and recruitment. And I give them some of the best service of best quality of service in the Ghana Police Force, the highest quality of service. And maybe I was a rogue. Or since then, maybe I have changed. That service commission did so much of nonsense, so much of irregular things. And if the president want to, there's a burning issue with the female that they rush with breakneck speed to do promotion, and not a female could have made it to a senior superintendent or an assistant commissioner. And they're highly qualified. Some of them have several degrees from the University of Guyana. but no female, and we start about female, about equality. And even though Brutus, in an interview with the one of the PR for the commission, said they look at race and they look at gender. Not a female made it to superintendent, to senior superintendent or assistant commissioner. And then in terms of race, the one race, which is not the dominant race, dominated the promotions to assistant commissioner, a senior superintendent, and superintendent. And they're not the dominant race. So where is the rogue there? Paul, give me a break.
Yes, buddy. Yes, yes. And somebody said like we going along today at 1 year from the inception. I be going. Today's whining day, whining Wednesday, whining Wednesday, whining Wednesday. So let me tell you this. He also said, this Nandalall also said, when the president looked around, there was no judicial service commission to establish the tribunal. Then he asked the question, what should the president have done in those circumstances? Well, me and no liar, but the judge said what he should have done. He got to follow the Constitution. That is what the judge said. And I say what he should have done is certainly not violate the Constitution. He should have appointed the Judicial Service Commission. Because then he went on and he said the president exercises executive power, which he has, which is to suspend. Justice Gino Persaud reminded him that the president does not have unfettered discretion. The Constitution laid out a procedure, I had it written down here, but in the interest of time, I ain't gonna go through all it. But it constituted emphasized that before you can suspend or remove, you have to refer the matter to the tribunal, which has to be established on advice of the Judicial Service Commission. And therefore, I'm saying that if you don't have and the judge says to me, if you don't have a Judicial Service Commission to establish the tribunal, you cannot suspend as you did, which, as the judge said, is a violation of the Constitution. And I'm waiting for here what civil society and all those guardians of democracy and all of those things would say. Remember, Anil Nandalall said that when was Granger time, that people can be impeached for far less than that. So let me hear what they're going to say. I have noted the deafening silence since Friday. Well, there are perhaps they didn't get enough time to meet and to discuss and decide how they're going to handle this matter. I think they must ain't get enough time. That might be the excuse. But I am waiting. I am waiting. The Constitution sets out a process. And it goes on to say, the Police Office Commission was bent on promoting officers in breach of the procedure. Well, I addressed that before. They breached no procedure. We did not breach any procedure. And then he goes on to say, people were excluded from the promotion list or officers who were claiming that they were deserving of promotion. You could claim what you want to claim. You can claim that you're deserving of promotion, but there are rules to follow. There are rules. They got people now promoted who didn't even pass the examination, and they're discriminating. So there are people promoted, they didn't pass the appropriate qualifying examination, but others are not promoted. Others are not promoted. So how fair can that be? I'm not saying that passing the promotion examination is the only requirement, but that is a very important requirement. And you know that the CC, that is Standing Order 22 is clear that if you haven't passed the promotion examination, you have to wait at least 15 years before you're promoted. So if you got 15 years service in the particular rank, then there's no requirement for you to pass the promotion examination. And that is what we applied. That is what we applied. The rules. You have to have rules. That is craziness, paying money and demanding favors and all of that, right? And let me say this again. I have said it before. My big disappointment with that commission is the fact that you had some very upright and upstanding former senior police officers. And they allowed, according to Nandalall, they allowed rogue elements to run roughshod over people's rights and to do all kind of crap, right? Upstanding people were on that commission. Upstanding senior police officers. Alvin Smith, you can't fault Alvin Smith. You can't question Alvin Smith's integrity. Arrol Martin, both of them were deputy commissioners. You can't question those people's integrity. The late Keith John, attorney at law, assistant commissioner, same thing. But I had an issue with them for sitting there and allowing all the crap to go on. all the crap. And I told John that on several occasions before he died. I told him. So that be go on. People excluded from the promotion list. We said people had matter before the High Court. People had matter, disciplinary matters, and they wanted them to promote. And then he spoke about the morale of the Guyana police force. That how the morale, how the action that we took affected the morale. Well, let me tell you what is affecting the morale of the police force. Then I'm going to bring in CC. What is affecting the morale of the police force, me had some notes written here, is the unprecedented political interference in the affairs of the force, including transfers and promotions. That is one of the issues affecting the morale. The recruitment and promotion of ranks from the Presidential Guard. So you had the Presidential Guard in 2020. People recruited in August of 2020. Remember, the government came into office on the 2nd of August 2020. Shortly thereafter, several ranks are recruited directly into the Presidential Guard, and the next month, September, they are promoted to the rank of sergeants. Ahead of a whole set of people who are out there in traffic, who are senior detectives and all of that, prosecutors and all of that, those persons were promoted. That is what is affecting the morale of the rank. More recently, 29 civilians come in, they say as prosecutors, promoted to the rank of sergeant. When you have people in the system prosecuting with enough experience who are corporals and perhaps even lance corporals in some area. That is what is affecting the morale of the Guyana police force. You have the promotion of rank. We talk about this. Amar promoted from the rank of inspector to superintendent because he has political affiliation. That is what is affecting all those almost hundreds of people that he jumped to either them. That must affect when a man look and see a man junior to me, no qualification more than me, he know the work more than me, all because he got political connection, promoted from inspector all the way to superintendent. That is what is going to affect the morale of the police force. The adverse publicity, so cool, arresting a lawyer for advising a client not to give a statement and all the adverse publicity that came. That is what, when police see that, oh, you feel shame, all them things that they're talking. Court tell him to take a water break. No water break, court. No water break. The time, this is, nowadays, if you unbowl your overs within a certain time, you get in penalty. So I want to make sure I ignore the water break and I go to, I even care if penalty points are awarded and an extra fee got to come within the 30-yard circle. I don't care. I shoot it from the hip today. I shoot it a whining. Today is whining Wednesday, as somebody said. And then you have the next issue, the frequent assault of ranks by members of the public without any proper response or support from the government. That is what is affecting the morale of members of the force. You have the video recording of a man, a police rank, sleeping on duty, the video recording, 18 hours. The man is on duty for 18 straight hours. And the advisor to the Home Affairs Minister records him, and it ends up on social media and to try to embarrass him. That is what is affecting the morale of the police force. Ranks at the TSU, for example, working 18, 24, 30, 36 straight hours without any relief. And according to the police there, they carry some sour. By the time they bring around the lunch, sometimes they get to them, the food sour. You can't eat the food sour. You can't eat the food. That is what is affecting the morale. Persons allegedly spitting in the face of ranks, and then nothing, when they move to the court, the matter is discontinued. That affects morale. That is going to affect the morale of the rank. Outrageous and poor working conditions at the stations. So even though they're trying now, look at some of them stations. I saw a picture, I think it was Mardi or some picture station under repair, water, inches of water in the place that they're occupying, and the police have to continue to work under those conditions. Toilet, most of the police stations, no proper facilities. They all sitting there doing all kind of thing. Check them station, ablution facilities, inhumane conditions according to court. That is why you got a man working at the minister's residence in Cowan Street. No facility in the yard, no toilet, no ablution facility. They put up a watch out on the road, outside, I think, on the road. So when the man want a bathroom break, you got to go to a taxi place nearby and beg them to use the washroom. I guess if it's in the night and you want to urinate, you just do your thing right at the corner of the road. That is what is affecting the morale of the members of the Guyana Police Force. The corruption allegations against senior members. You know, even the United States State Department talk about corruption in the Guyana Police Force. When the honest ranks, when the diligent and honest ranks see that, that must affect morale, because people tend to paint the thing with a broad brush. Then identify. So yeah, that's gonna affect. So if you're talking about morale, affecting morale, come good. I'm ready for you today. Then you talk about the challenge by Brutus. You know, Brutus went to court and delayed early promotion. And the Attorney General on the night of June the 29th, 2021, going on NCN on his program Issues in the News and announced the government will not recognize the promotions. The government will not recognize the promotions. And that is what is affecting the morale of the police force and many other things. But let me give CC an opportunity. I want to argue the button that even though I don't perform, you know, but I want to make sure that me part of the next year get a little bit of the strike. Because the bowling sweet. The bowling sweet. Or you know where the bowling sweet you want for dominate the bowling. The bowling sweet, like how Johnson Charles dominated the bowling. Like how Romario Shepard yesterday nearly killed Kagiso Rabada, one of the best fast bowlers in the world. The man took him to the cleaners yesterday. So I want to take this thing to the cleaner today. CC, take your butler strike, man.
Yeah, Paul, I promise you I'm going to be an effective tail ender, and also that I'm going to play until they close. I'm going to bat until they close the play. Now I listen to the AG, and here's what this man saying. When the president look around, he didn't see any judicial service commission. The president has to look around to see that there's no judicial service commission. I think since 2017 there was no judicial service commission, and it's the president who has to appoint a judicial service commission. The Judge Gino Persaud said he got to bear the burden of not appointing a judicial service commission. And also the AG mentioned that the president has supreme executive powers. What he calls supreme executive powers? The president is a creature of the Constitution. He has to bow down to the Constitution. He has to work in the ambit of the Constitution. And if he breach it, he gotta say, mea culpa, mea culpa. He gotta bow down to it. The only supreme leader I think I know is in North Korea. This is Guyana, and the president, I repeat, has got to act in accordance with the Constitution. He is a creature of the Constitution. And before I respond to moral, let me spend some time. Let me take a little botany and look at Article 225 of the Constitution. 225(2) said, the officer may be removed from office only for inability to discharge the functions of his or her office arising from infirmity or body or mind or any other cause whereof, or for misbehavior. And here's section 4. It's a bit long, but I can read it. If the prescribed authority advises the president that the question of removing the officer from office under the article ought to be investigated, then the president shall act in accordance with the advice of the Judicial Service Commission in appointing a tribunal which shall consist of a chairman and not less than 2 other members selected by the Judicial Commission from among persons who hold or have held office as a judge or of a court having unlimited jurisdiction in civil and criminal matters in some part of the Commonwealth, or a court of jurisdiction in appeals from any such court, or who are qualified to be admitted to practice in Guyana as an attorney at law and have been so qualified for such period as is prescribed by the Parliament. Went on. And the last section, section 6. If the question of removing the officer from office has been referred to a tribunal under this article, the president, acting in accordance with the advice of the prescribed authority, may suspend the officer from performing the functions of his or her office, and any such suspension may, at the time being revoked by the president, acting in accordance with such advice as aforementioned, and shall in any case cease to have effect if the tribunal recommends to the president that the officer should not be removed from office. This is so clear. Ray Charles could see it, and they talk about removal, where there must be a judicial service commission to advise the president. And let me talk about morale. You rightly mentioned, Paul, when Brutus blocked those promotions, and also we had policemen. It made the news, sleeping on newspaper in an oil-rich country, a country that they say is the fastest growing economy in the world. A policeman, TSU men, sleeping on newspaper. And then we have policemen in region, we're talking about welfare, and we're talking about motivation. Police in region 1, region 7, region 8, and region 9, not getting the accounts, that the money that they work for when they go on patrol. Yeah? And then apart from that, they are forced to make up bogus accounts, allegations that they made bogus accounts said going to the welfare fund, and it ended up there. We have case where they say they're rotating people, but they're using the transfer as a weapon against people. We had many cases where thousands of policemen were disenfranchised when Brutus served as a returning officer and elected Prem Narayan, or selected Prem Narayan as chairman of the police association. We had young, vibrant policemen, corporals and lance corporals and new constables raring to go, and then they install 29 civilians, give them the rank of sergeants, and place them in the Ghana police force. And the thing is, I remember the police, the acting commissioner went to Borbis, and there was a policeman with 7 years service, a constable. The acting top cop said, I can't promote him because we have the establishment for some of the officers, we boss it, so to speak, and we can't promote. At least he can't even get a lance corporal. My wife just he can't even get a piece of stripe on the hand. But they left, and they bring in 29 men, and here more to come. And also there's a serious issue where neighborhood police are underpaid. All the neighborhood police are rural constables. They made rural constables. I remember the president was in pain to itemize the raise of salary from assistant commissioner down to neighborhood police. The thing is that neighborhood police getting more money in a month than rural constables. They are all rural constables, but there's a neighborhood police who are all rural constables, and they classify some as rural constables and some as neighborhood police. And those that they classify as rural constables are getting less than neighborhood police. Some have 9 years service, and one get 1 year service, and he getting more money than the 9-year-old because he is classified as a rural constable. And the thing is that the administration ain't doing nothing about it. They say they can't do anything about it. So those are some of the things that are really affecting morale in the Ghana police force. And also the females, they ain't saying nothing, but they're grumbling quietly, where not a female could be a senior superintendent in the Ghana police force. Not a female could become an assistant police commissioner. The females are being neglected. Perhaps they gotta do like what some of them did with the commission before us, give up their body so that they can get promoted. And also critical, no training from international recognized law enforcement agency for policemen like the FBI, like the Royal Canadian Police Force, like Centric, like from the UK. No real training coming for those police. Nobody gained there, or nobody from the FBI coming here, or no Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or nobody from England coming and do real specific training for them. So the morale is low, and also the wages, the salary, the welfare, it's poor. And Nandalall talking nonsense.
Right, you take a single and now you're going back to the next year. It's time for me to bat again. Again, as I told you today, is pace and power, pace and power. The next issue that he spoke about, he said that we did a number of things, all of which failed. What are you talking about failure? In other words, I like the fact that when the application was filed in court, the challenge named the president, and the judge ruled that the president cannot be named as a respondent in the thing. He won that one. What else he won? Nothing more. Nothing more. And let me tell you the victories that I have chalked up. Let me tell you, I chalking up victories since 2004. If you all remember, when in 2003, Jack Dio as president and the Gajraj wanted me to do what amounted to some illegal act, return a gun to man when an investigation at that reached that stage. And when I declined, the lawyer tell me this is what I should have used. I said refuse. The man said, no, you declined. You refuse. You know, these liars have a way with word. So when I wrote the statement and the lawyer said, saw the thing, he said, no, you can't say you refuse. You declined. Semantics, I would say, semantics. So they tried to move me out of the force. I got a letter say that I am seconded or assigned to the Financial Investigation Unit. I think they got a man in there now, Nanjivine, and before he was Paul Gear. That work was me on, That work was mine. They're sending me there. I refused. I said, look, me and join the police force to go there. I challenged them in court and won. That is the first victory. The second victory was in 2010. I got to tell you all these things. They're not victory piling up. In 2010, when I retired, I made certain statement at my retirement, farewell retirement function, several functions. And the then Attorney General Charles Ramsey sued me for statement I made claiming that I spoke on a matter that was before the court. The matter was sub judice. They sued me. That one too ain't got no place. I won that one. Victory number 2. Then the victory number 3 with the Police Service Commission. Karen Bush moved to court to say that we acted unlawfully when we, in the process of instituting disciplinary charges against him. We won that one. The commission won that one. Victory number 3. The next matter, and this is what people that know. So after I appeared in court on the 15th of October, 2021 for this conspiracy charge, and that is the first time I learned that they had also charged me with sexual offenses. I wanted to leave the country, and I made an application to the court. The Attorney General himself, the Attorney General Anil Nandalall, that I say SC MP. Boy, they say when you say SC, you got to put in a vowel there. MP. Let me tell you again. SC MP. There's a gap between the SC and the MP. The space there for a vowel. I put in whatever vowel I want to put in. I can put in I. My vowel will be I or O or U. You have to put in whatever you want to put in. The Attorney General himself appeared and opposed my request to leave the country. The matter spent, the Chief Justice or the matter. About 2 months it took before, that was in October. It was not until December, then the Chief Justice gave me permission to travel out of the jurisdiction without certain conditions. So I, after abiding thing, I traveled. Went back to Guyana as instructed in the conditions given by the Chief Justice. I had to leave again to go and work. Again, the Attorney General's chamber opposed. This time was in front of Justice Navindra Singh. And he granted me permission to leave the country. So that is 5. That is victory number 5. When I applied on the 3rd time to leave, Nigel, the Solicitor General, was there. When the judge, the same judge, Navindra Singh, asked if they opposed, he said no, they're not opposing. They got 2 blows and then they're not opposed. So that is victory number 5. I ain't done there. Victory number 6. Victory number 6. Justice Gino Persaud ruled that the matter must continue. The Police Service Commission matter must continue, and Paul Slow must be added in the place instead of the Police Service Commission. That is victory number 6. Victory number 7. Anil Nandalall moved to the High Court, the full court, to challenge Justice Gino Persaud's decision and lost. Victory number 7. Perhaps victory number 8 is when he went to the, he sought leave from the full court to appeal the matter to the appeal court and lost. He sought leave, and that leave was denied by the full court. He lose again. He lose again. He's like Mrs. Macmillan asked, bring last, dead last. Trade wind says so. Mrs. Macmillan asked is a real jackass. Bray, donkey bray, banana, tatana, tata. And they're on farm today. And they're on farm. And then victory number 9, Brutus lawsuit, Brutus fire lawsuit. And again, the Chief Justice found him to be self-serving, dismiss the lawsuit, right? And then number 10, Friday, Justice Gino Persaud ruled that the suspension of the Police Service Commission was unlawful. 10-1. Sparrow said 10-1 is murder. That was Sparrow. 10 victories to 1 by Nandalall. And he making nice and sell tower, but talking about failures. You're talking about failures. I get the records. Let me turn over the strike to CC. CC, take a little back in there.
Yeah, and get back to Nandalall, the bowling suite. Because he said he admitted that the president missed a step. He was talking about the state constitution said the president missed a step. Then is when he looked around and saw that there was no judicial service commission. He missed a step, and that step was fatal. I remember in 1968 in Mexico City, Bob Beamon jumped out of the pit. I think it's 29.2 feet, 8.9 meters, and he won the gold medal. This time the president jumped, but the jump was a no jump. No jump because he breached the constitution, buddy. And even Nandalall is admitting that the president missed a step. You can't miss a step when you're dealing with the constitution. You got to go straight. You got to go straight, and you can't miss no step. So all of that, is where Nandalall losing all the time. But he's fighting for your work. And he's fighting for your work all the time.
He's fighting for his job. So let me move on to the pace and power. Pace and power court say he ain't even leaving. He's in trial. He's stuck in the place. He ain't going. He got popcorn and he coke. Then he hear what the people can say. And I'll be addressing, but just briefly, how the new promotion list was created following the proper procedure. What proper procedure you're talking about, Mr. Attorney General SC MP? Gotta left the space. Mr. Attorney General SC MP. What process you're talking about? Process was never followed, as Mr. Conway rightly pointed out. The 4th of July, the right Bishop Finlay said no promotion yet. The next day. And let me tell you something about that list, Again, I'm looking at it. Let me tell you about that list. It's the first time in the history of the Guyana Police Force and the Police Service Commission that the promotion list is revealed through the government order. Let me repeat that. This is the first time in the history of the Guyana Police Force and the Police Service Commission that a promotion list is revealed by a government order. The normal practice, they're talking about normal practice, they're talking about all other crap. The normal thing is when the Police Service Commission meet, they created a list, they approved the list is sent to the Commissioner of Police. As a matter of fact, I could tell you, the chairman takes the list to the commissioner. In one case, I think it was 2009, the same secretary took it to the commissioner. I was there in the operation function. The list is taken to the Commissioner of Police. The Commissioner of Police, by then, it coming, so you have a team standby to start preparing letters. And they prepare the letters and the special order. The special order is then created and released around midnight, New Year's night. The government order take sometimes weeks to be prepared. Because the government order is prepared by the public service ministry there. They prepare the government order and send it off. So this crap we talking about procedure follow, no way, no way. And then Jagobin Jagdio talking about after deliberation. What deliberation? You lying son of a. I want to get kicked off Facebook, so I can't. I never farm today. I never farm. So you come to talk a lot of crap on it. And I say, old people say, back in the country, where you use the correct political language, they say if the mouth is shaped like an anus, it must defecate. Where you come from in the country, maybe BV man, country man, they say if your mouth shaped like Batty, you got to shoot shit. That is the interpretation of that. So take it. You could take that to the bank. You could take that to the bank. Now again, he said the case raised a lot of important constitutional issues. That is the only thing I agree with Nandalall about. He says that this case raised a lot of important constitutional issues. It did. And the judge ruled on those important constitutional issues. Said the president violated the Constitution. The president does not have unfettered powers as you want to think. So yeah, I agree with you. I agree. And then he asks the question, if posters are charged, whether they can continue in office. That's one of the questions it raised. You should know, you get charged to thief in the book. How happened? The matter, you continued until the matter was struck out. The president get charged with 19 fraud charges. So that is answered. Yes, you can remain until the DPP discontinue the matter. Some you know what question you're asking there. I don't know what question you're asking, but let me tell you there. Come, be winding down. Be winding down. I said about whether remain in office. I said the issue was addressed by Justice Persaud. The Constitution guarantees a person the presumption of innocence until proven guilty by a competent court. The Attorney General should remember that he was criminally charged with stealing lab books, and he was afforded that right. There was a trial, and the magistrate found that the prima facie case was made out against him. He appealed aspects of the case, and is the DPP, the same person who had recommended the charge. Are you missing the part? The same person who recommended criminal charge against the Attorney General turned back and discontinued the proceeding. Talking about independence, talking about professionalism, Mr. Attorney General, examine them statements, you can see wait there. And let me continue. He said, you cannot have a police force headless. That is why Iken was appointed. Well, let me address that. The Attorney General said that you cannot have a police force headless. That is why Iken was appointed. Well, let me give you some timeline. And I hope that the lawyers who are dealing with this same case listen. And if you all want to call me, we get all the facts. Call me anytime. I get the facts. Leslie James, who was the Commissioner of Police, proceeded on leave prior to retirement on the 31st of July 2020. Leslie James proceeding on leave prior to retirement. I think it was 274 days leave, if my records are correct. He proceeded on leave on the 31st of July 2020. And by way of letter, the permanent secretary advised, she said to James that when you proceed on leave, Deputy Commissioner Nigel Appy will carry out the functions of commissioner. So Nigel Appy started to carry out the functions of commissioner on the 31st of July 2020 when James proceeded on leave. Right? President was sworn in on the 2nd day of August 2020. At that time, there was, once Parliament convened, there was an opposition leader by the name of Joseph Armon. Joseph Armon remained in office until, let me get the dates properly. Armon remained in office until April. James went on leave. First of all, James went on leave on the 1st of July 2020, and he properly retired on the 4th of May 2021. So between 31st of July 2020 and 4th of May 2021, the commissioner post, well, Appy acted, because James was still the commissioner. Appy acted. Appy continued to function as commissioner. There was an opposition leader at that time. That's when James going to leave on the 4th of May. There was an opposition leader at that time, and no attempt was made. Armand resigned as opposition leader in January of 2022. So between May 1st, 2021, when James demitted office, and January 2022, when Armand retired, you had an opposition leader. You came into office on the 2nd of August. So between 2nd of August and January, well, not that really, because James was still effectively in office, but you could have made Appy acting. You didn't do that. You didn't do that, right? There was an opposition leader, and you could have followed the correct steps. You did not do that. No one was appointed commissioner, right? Aubrey Norton became opposition leader in April 2022. Ikin was appointed in March. So just before Aubrey Norton became opposition leader, you also on your appoint Ikin. I believe, despite what the Chief Justice ruled, I have a lot of respect for the Chief Justice, but I believe she made a mistake in this one. That is my belief as a layman, right? And some people say, well, you're a layman, can't get all the facts, right? I am saying that if there was a need to appoint the commissioner of police, that need should have arisen when James came off on the 4th of May 2021. Appy, some people have described me as all sort of thing. For 18 or 20 months, he was there, carrying out the functions as commissioner, and he wasn't appointed. And then all of a sudden, it was necessary for Ikin to be appointed in March of last year. I don't accept that, and I hope that the lawyers will deal with that, because I think the matter is appealed, and I hope they will deal with that. CC, take a little back today, man.
And to add to that, Paul, all the time there was a deputy commissioner named Paul Williams, a confirmed deputy commissioner named Paul Williams. He's now Dr. Paul Williams, and I wish to congratulate him on his recent saw him on his graduation ceremony. So while they jump in the place there, Dr. Paul Williams was there. He wasn't doctor then, but he was there all the time as a deputy commissioner. What they do, they send him to COVID-19, so he checking on cases and deaths. That's all he doing. But I think he used the opportunity then to study, and he has now qualified. He's now a doctor, and he's senior to all of them. When Happy gone, he was senior to all of them. Hicken was an assistant commissioner, and the case may be. So they just mess around with the system.
Yeah, they mess around with the system. So Anil, we get a mouthful. You make we break record. This is the longest program we have ever had. We're running now 2 minutes and 34 and going. And I can't tell, somebody said they're barely full, but they're hungry. But say, I really find farm with the baton. Let me baton, bro, baton. I'm going for Lara record, man. I'm going for Lara 400. And you would note that in my innings, I ain't taking many singles, I ain't rotating no strike, I'm blasting the ball to and over the boundary. The bowling soft, the bowling sweet. So you got to take advantage. And you don't know how soon you're going to get bowling like this again. You call it lampy-pumpy bowling. And Jeff Boycott used to call it optimistics. When Upa come to bowl, Jeff Boycott used to say bowling a little right hand optimistic. So you don't know. I know whether I get this bowling. But how they coming, you got this sweet bowling steady, you know. How they coming, the bowling sweet and the track good, the ground small. So all in favor of me, the batsman. All in favor of me. And I'm gonna beat it till the ball bust. And when the ball bust, the umpire is gonna change the ball. The umpire is gonna change the ball. Take more licks. Anil coming Friday night there for come and talk a lot of crap about people. Anil can put his credibility against ours. When a man who is a lecturer brought the CCJ, Guyana Apex Court, into disrepute, and he coming to tell people what you what you're rogue and all sort of thing that he wants to say. So we came out today to make sure I prepared for him. Prepare. I get all week since Friday. He thing. The thing tickling me. And I say, well, you tickle me, whining. So I am saying this, and I hope my viewers, and I get more to talk, more. So whatever we miss out today, we can talk again. But I want to say again, compliments to the judge in delivering an excellent decision. We had always expected that would have been, because as CC did just say, you read the Constitution. The Constitution is clear, and they recognize that. They recognize, as the Attorney General said, that they breached the Constitution, but they tried to create the impression that the commission that I chaired, the most consequential commission that I chaired, was rogue, and therefore the president was compelled to act. Members of the force were dissatisfied. They moved to the court. They were encouraged to go to the court by disreputable, corrupt people. They went to the court. The thing was thrown out. Yesterday, he said that the challenge was found meritless. He answered the part, he conveniently omitted the outcome, where the Chief Justice said that the thing had no merit. The Chief Justice ruled that the main person filing the thing, Brutus, was self-serving. That is what the Chief Justice ruled. He answered that. So he picking out part what he believes is convenient, right? Somebody said when they go low, we can go high. Well, me and name Obama, I am inclined to even go lower when they go low. I'm inclined to go lower when they go low. But the thing is irritating to hear a man who owes such a high office in the country go and tell so much lie. Mark Phillips, the Prime Minister, a man who was the head of the army, right, in an affidavit to tell these lies, buddy. Jaigobian Jai Singh, the Secretary of the Police Service Commission. How do these people sleep in the night? And I have said before, the Bible says that if the ills and fall on you, it can fall on your children and to how much generation down the line. You can't be telling lies in an affidavit like that. If they bring the thing for you to sign, you got to tell them this is not true. Ask me liars them. When affidavit come, they send affidavit for me to sign, I go through it with a fine-teeth comb. And I tell them, look, this aspect is not accurate. You need to reward this, and that is what I did, because I know that telling lies in an affidavit amounts to perjury. Perjury is a criminal charge. Perjury is a criminal charge, right? And therefore, I am not a criminal. I don't want to commit criminal act. I made sure. But when the Prime Minister of Guyana, he said his name Mark Anthony Phillips, and the office at Colgrave House, swears to an affidavit to say that the meeting that I allege took place between me and the president on the 16th of September 2020. He said, well, the allegation is scandalous. No meeting took place and all of that. When the president himself admitted in a release on the 31st of May 2021 that the meeting, he admitted at least on 3 occasions in the one release that the meeting took place. And Mark Phillips is saying that no such meeting took place. Then you get Jaigobian Jai Singh, the Secretary of the Police Service Commission, telling lies about what transpired, especially when you talk about the deliberations for the last promotion. What deliberations, Jai Singh? What deliberations? What deliberations could there have been to promote 234 persons on the 2nd of July when the chairman, Bishop Finlay, on the 1st of July, told the world that, look, then meet to that stage to consider promotion as yet. As I said, with the lies told by these people in the affidavit, I have to speak with my lawyers and decide on the way forward. Because as I said, I don't intend to leave it like that. I do not intend to leave it like that. There must be consequences for people who lie in an affidavit. And only that they lie in an affidavit with the intention to cast aspersion on decent people. There must be consequences, and there will be consequences. Mr. Conway, please, your closing remarks.
Okay. The thing is that you have senior government functionaries, the Prime Minister line, Chai Sing line, and consequences must follow. They must follow. Even if you go to court and the politically inclined DPP say null pros. Well then, so be it. And even if they say null pros, somebody need to challenge. And there are times when we have to challenge the decision of the DPP. We had it before. I think they challenged it, and they said that the action of the DPP was unconstitutional. So we need to start. They need to start challenging things. And as I said, and as we felt all along the line, that we would have been vindicated. Don't mind what appeal they make. I want to go to the CCJ. That is the apex court. That court will decide, and will decide the same thing as what Justice Gino Persaud said. And I wish to thank Justice Gino Persaud for him being forthright, for him being honest, for him sticking to the law, for him making legal decisions as a judge and not no political decisions. But in closing, I've seen in a release from the confusing communication department of the Ghana Police Force that the police, in collaboration with some nation university, that they presented some manuals, where according to the release, 4,000 junior officers and ranks will benefit. They talk about certificate in general policing, junior officer policing studies. But there are two statements that continue to be confusing. Statement from the Commission of Police. One, according to the court, they said the commission said that the modules are second to none in the Caribbean. And here it is, because it was done by a reputable organization. So because it was done by a reputable organization, it is second to none. I wonder if you have seen all the training manuals in the Caribbean. And here is other statement saying, coming from the acting committee, this is a stepping stone in the right direction that will change professionalism. I repeat, that will change professionalism of the Ghana Police Force, catering for the advent of the development of oil and gas, with experts coming into the country. Let me repeat, this is a stepping stone in the right direction that will change professionalism of Ghana Police Force, catering for the advent of the development of oil and gas, with experts coming into the country. That's what? I don't understand those two statements. They are confusing, but more on these manuals in another episode. Understand? Let me just close up by understanding that according to the people, the police sent the course content and the university did the modules. I remember doing, and I close with this, I remember when I was doing a bit of computer foundation, and they get a term they use, GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. Repeat, garbage in, garbage out. So if they send garbage to the university, garbage will return.
Have a good day, my brother. Have a good day. Thank you very much for your contribution today. Thank you very much for batting, because in this match, last man don't bat out, Court and them by me. I don't know if court know that trace. Last man don't bat out. When we as a little bit playing with little cricket, not cricket, we call them bat and ball. You gotta declare at first whether last man batting out. In other words, if the side consists of 11, you gotta get 11 wickets, not 10. So the last man got to bat, so you declare. So in the last man, that bat out, you got to get a partner for somebody got to come that out. So CC, it was good to have you here with me. We're gonna talk a little later. Thanks for your presence today, lengthy presence today.
Thank you.
Now, folks, let me say this. We just made the same statement that CC just referenced. All I need to say is that when you're going to have a man who's sitting in the chair asking commission makes such a stupid statement that the document is the best in the Caribbean, which assumes or presumes that he has seen and read all the documents in the Caribbean. It just tells you about the level. It just tells you about the level. And when you are a fugitive from intellectuality or intellectual content, you can make them type of statement. Yeah? A stupid statement, but where you get from people, stupid people gotta make stupid statement. Folks, we have had a record number of courses today in class, and we have gone for a record length of time. And for me, it was worth it. Every second was worth it. I hope you found it worthwhile as well. As I've said, we will come here and we will give you all the information that you need to get. We're going to tell you as it is. And we challenge them to challenge anything that we say. Let it come. Somebody noted that the trenches weren't here today. They can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. There was a picture where somebody made that statement. You cannot handle the truth. And that is what's going on here. That is what's going on. So, they still cannot understand how to operate in an environment where they don't dominate and monopolize the news. Back in the day, there is an orientation. Nandalall would have gone on NCN, which is the national network. He makes a statement, and then you don't get an opportunity to respond. But in these days of social media, buddy, when they come with the nonsense, you got to talk. You got to let people know the truth. And I have always said, when we speak on this program, don't believe us necessarily. Don't believe what we say. Don't take everything that we say just like that. Investigate. Don't be intellectually lazy. Investigate. And then you will find everything that we say is truth, can be supported, can be corroborated. And that is what we are here to do. As former police officers, people who train in some of the best training institutions for policing in the world, we know how to put it over, and that is what we have done. That is what we will be doing. So we now wait in terms of the case. People ask the question. Now, an important aspect of this matter that we have not addressed, and it has to be addressed, but because I've said in the promotion that we made on June the 28th, 2021, 132 persons were promoted. The Attorney General the following night, June the 29th, went on NCN and said the government is not recognizing those promotions. Now that the judge has ruled that the order from the president was unconstitutional, unlawful, and void, null and void, and therefore of no legal effect. Of no legal effect. My interpretation of that is that therefore the Service Commission was never suspended, and therefore the actions taken by the Service Commission were lawful. There are 42 persons who were affected by their, 42 persons total. One man has died, there's Cooper. The other 41 are there. Quite a number of them were not promoted in this last promotion. I think 4 of them were promoted to ranks lower than the ones that we had promoted them to. We had promoted them to superintendent, and in the last promotion, they promoted them to deputy superintendent. So therefore, the statement by the Attorney General that this matter is finished and is only this part where you want to say whether this suspension was lawful, this academic part, I don't agree with that. I don't agree. So I want to know what is going to happen to the promotion of those 42, including Cooper, because even though Cooper has died, remember he was promoted and the dates were there. I have the records. So we have got to pursue that to find out what is the position with those persons. I will continue to pursue this matter. This matter can't done just like that. As I've said before, no, done as you like. No, done as you like. And let me tell you again, right? No, done as you like. Right? No, done as you like. And let me sing again. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God had done. Count your blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Folks, stay safe. COVID is still very much around. Take all precautions and make sure you stay safe. Until next week, Wednesday at 11 o'clock. See you then for another episode of Speaking Out, exposing corruption and incompetence. Bye for now.